Evening all. Sorry I'm late, but as always, I get held up by things I don't want to be held up by. I'm sorry about that. What's going on with my internet here? Where's Jupiter then? Where's Calm? Oh well. Ah, Calm. Hi, Calm, love.
How are you, Andy? How are you, Andy? You all right? Hello?
Hi, love.
Hear
You
me?
okay? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on. Grand, grand. I don't know where Jupiter is. I haven't explained Jupiter, to be honest, Wendy. I just caught a little bit kind of back and forward what was going on today between them. So, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to stay out of that. Yeah,
I
because
am
I'm not,
staying out of it. It doesn't pay me
yeah,
to get
because
involved. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I'm sorry, but like I'm not picking up for shit skits. Just as simple as that. I'm
No,
sorry, but
no.
so I'm not getting into that. But like that's Duke's opinion on it, and yeah, but that's enough. Yeah, so I'm not getting involved in that. I'm trying my best to stay out of that shit. To be honest, Mandy. Yeah. So that's I don't know where she. I think she went over to. She did end a stream earlier. I was listening to it after it was over. She went over to Banksy. After that, so maybe she's still at Banksy. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, right. I don't know. But anyway, did you bring those videos, love?
I did, Wendy. Let me get them for you, and I'll drop them in the back chat to you now.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
so these are some they're rare ones footage back on the day, like they're of the day. There's a couple from English ones, like when I say English, I mean British ones. But yeah, so they're trying to be as non-biased as I can. But yeah, this is all that I can find. But this is from that day. So and it shows exactly barrier 14 where it all went off as people are walking down into Williams Street. So yeah, it's just there. So just let me get them for you, Wendy. Sorry.
That's all right.
Come back in. There's one, and I'll go get you the two now, Wendy. Just give a second for them too, because I have to keep going in and out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I know it's a pain, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Let me have a
So
look
it's in
at
we
this.
watch later, so that's why I just left them in we watch later for you to just be able to play them. So, right,
No, I'm going to now. I stopped this one. Stop sharing. Go to that after we've watched this. Oh, come on, load. I've got so many tabs open. It's unbelievable, honestly.
and Wendy,
honestly,
is it okay? Is it okay to extend that invitation, Wendy, to anybody that because again, I'm not a professor of Irish history, especially with the IRA or anything like that. Yeah, I'm
yeah, of course, yeah.
So if anybody out there is unhappy with either myself or Wendy and our approach to it or what
please
we're saying
come on. Yeah.
as long as you're respectful to the host, I'll bounce and you can talk, but don't try your shit. Again, if you want to correct me on certain subjects, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, come on.
Don't give it in the chat. Don't give it all to the chat. Just come on. Wendy will give you your few.
Right, let's have a look at this then. It seems interesting. Right.
On Sunday, the 30th of January, several thousand people in Derry marched towards the city centre. All factions in the Catholic community united against internment under the banner of civil rights. The army and police decided not to stop the march for fear of violence, but to contain it within the Bogside. At the junction of William Street and Rossville Street, the marchers passed the army barricades. A substantial number of marchers broke away from the march and turned towards the army barricade. The ritual battle began. Then the crowds fell back before the CS gas. Units waited behind the army barricades, ready to launch an arrest operation. They were members of the 1st Battalion of the Parachute Regiment, known to be one of the toughest regiments serving in Northern Ireland. Just before 4 o'clock, they were ordered in. Most of the rioters had dispersed. Shooting had begun when a soldier opened fire on an alleged nail bomber. In all, 108 rounds of live ammunition were fired by the army.
There's Bishop Daly, Wendy. There's Bishop Daly with his chief.
Yeah.
He became a bishop after this. So there you're wrong, Joe.
John. John, do the police.
Wow, I can't believe you chose that video because it fits in ideally.
That's what exactly happened, Wendy. That's
Yes.
what would have
Yes.
started the whole thing off
Sorry,
from
let it play on.
that day.
Yeah.
So that was the
Oh,
only
Christ.
thing that I could find. Oh shit! Oh, is that over? Is that over me, Wendy? Oh,
Eh? No.
are we going or is
Uh-huh.
it?
There
No,
you go.
oh, so this.
No,
Oh,
no, that was
oh,
on
God.
the other thing. Yeah.
Oh my bad.
Yeah.
I thought it was gone. I was like, all right, yeah. No, that was from that day, and like I have like another one that's an hour. It was like an hour and a half to go through all that, which is like, I mean, maybe you want to go through it yourself because it's quite an interesting take on it. But as you've seen, right, they come down William Street, and they're all in their suits,
Yeah.
Wendy. So they came from Mass, right? Now, again, we can both agree that like the 101 paratroops, they shouldn't have been there. The Green Jackets have been there, right? Because they're special elites. They shouldn't have been there for that. Now, again, they went to Agro Corner. As you see, it's a small little thing coming into the town centre, right? And the Bogside Flats and Russell Flats, all around there. That's where they were meant to go. That's where the organisers were pushing half of the march because it was a peaceful march. It was meant to be a peaceful march.
Meant to be, yeah.
The Yumplets being Yumplets, they said, no, we're going down to Agro Corner. And yeah, as the name implies, it's, Agro Corner, where you give a bit of aggro, So they went down to give aggro to the British soldiers. And yeah, the British soldiers at that time, they were used to it. It was nothing new to them like that. They were getting fucking sticks and stones thrown at them, you know what I mean? But like, what they were meant to do was scoop up 400 people, arrest 400 people. Now they arrested 357, but like that was after 13 people had been shot. Now, as I said yesterday, there was one cockeyed IRA bloke. He did shoot, but this was after. Right now, you see, because I have the screenshots, so I'll show them all to you, Wendy, because like your stream.
Oh, if you just hang on, a minute, Cam, just let me play this, right, and you'll see why I'm glad that you came along with that video, right? So here we go. Not this, yeah, it goes on from here. Get rid of that. I think I just heard a pop. That means Jupiter's arrived, I think. Just wait a second and then I'll start speaking in a minute. Yeah, Jupiter. Sorry about the long gap, but a few people have been calling. It always happens when I'm doing something. So what I'm trying to do here is ask questions that, as far as I can see, have never been asked. So let me read out from the Savile inquiry, right? This first. One of the few things that everybody who was present at the march in Derry on the 30th of January 1972 was in agreement on was the weather. Almost to a man and a woman, they remembered it was cold. It was a cold, crisp day, covered the clear blue sky. Hovering in the clear blue sky was an army helicopter, and in it was a young surveillance officer known to the Savile inquiry as INQ 2030. Bloody hell. From this vantage point, he could see over the whole of the Bogside. Years later, he recorded what events looked like to him up there. And this is what he said. I can recall seeing
okay. Wendy kicked herself out. Right. Give them a minute, I guess. Shit. All right, yeah, just can come back, yeah, right, yeah. Oh, there's Duke back. Nice one, Duke, and there's Andy back. Nice one.
Bloody hell, I thought I was doing hokey cokey for a minute.
Shake it all about you. That's it down. So, yeah.
Hang on, people, hang on. Right, we're back where we should be. Right.
Okay, let's go on mute then.
Demonstrating the worst. Despite the ban on marches, the planned march against internment left the Craigan area of the city in the early afternoon. Young and old were on the march, and the huge crowd. Sorry, I was just checking I was unmuted there. And the huge crowd showed not just how strong the opposition to internment was, but how many people were willing to break the government's ban. Well, that's nothing new, is it? I mean, BLM, they broke the ban, didn't they, during the bloody pandemic? Anyway, yeah, the government's ban. The thousands of marchers wound their way through the nationalist area of the city and into William Street. Originally, the organisers had planned for the march to finish in the Guildhall Square with speakers on top of a lorry that were leading the march. But the security forces, remember the peacekeepers, were intent, apparently, on avoiding clashes with loyalist groups in the centre of the city, and ensured that the march did not get to the Guildhall Square. They set up an army barrier across William Street called Barrier 14. As the march got to the corner of William Street and Roosevelt Street, it rerouted down Roosevelt Street past the high Roosevelt Flats towards Free Corner, where speeches would now take place. But sections of the marchers, predominantly young men, went a little further along William Street to face down the army. And they started throwing stones, bricks, and Molotov cocktails. Tear gas was fired.
Sorry, Wendy, there was no actual proof that there was any petrol bombs or any nail bombs.
Street. Hang on, this is from the Savile report, the inquiry. So just let me get to the point, Cam, and then you'll be able to say what you want, love, okay? So it's another few minutes and I ask the question, right? So then you'll be able to say whatever. Sackville Street. At the armies erected barriers 12 and 13. Now, this is where I'm going to stop and I'm going to ask the first question. Why did those people not just carry on with the rest of the demonstration, right, to the rerouted place? The army had put up barriers to stop trouble, okay? So they didn't want it going through a Protestant area. They didn't want loyalists and Catholics to be fighting. So they did the next best thing, and that was to put the barriers up to stop it. So my question is, why did these people think they could go up and throw these things, right, and be very have an attitude, be very violent towards the army, and get away with it? Well, it beggars belief as to why they would do that. If all they wanted was to march against internment, why did they deliberately go down to that army place and cause havoc? Right? That's question number one. All right. So now you see, Cam, your video, what you gave me, fits in exactly with what I just described that happened, and you mentioned William Street. So the question is for me, right? Not about right and wrong at this point. Why did the ones who chose to disperse from the major demonstration of like 10 to 15,000 people, why did they go and confront the army who was standing back in William Street just so they couldn't, the demonstration couldn't go down there?
Well, for one, wasn't just
Rubber
one
bullets
barricade.
fired. CS gas. Sorry, Kamek and canisters with. Sorry, love. Right.
There wasn't just one barricade. So
no, there was a
again,
few.
yes,
There was a few.
So barricade 14. When the organisers seen that, that's blocked off. Yes, the main one said, right, we'll go down to Roosevelt Flats, right, and then down to Free Derry Corner. That's what the plan was. But as I said, the Young Flits said, a group of the Young Flits said, no, we're going up to Agro Corner, which is on the corner called Agro Corner, to give a go at the British. Yes, which they do every Sunday at 3 o'clock. Every Sunday they done it. So as I said, the British, they weren't not used to it. It wasn't like it was just something new. They done it every Sunday. Every Sunday, they would go down because they were unemployed. They were unhappy.
Yeah, but it seemed to me, it just seemed to me. Yeah, it just seemed to me that they were, they seemed to be in the enjoying riots frame of mind. And that they weren't just youngsters. There was people in their 40s.
I get what you're saying. Why did they go down and confront them? Why didn't they just continue? Like I get that. And I get that. As I said, right. And it's an unfortunate series of events that happened after that one move. Yes, and for every action you take, whether it's positive or negative, you will get a reaction back. They got a reaction back. They're right, and in them reports. They listened. They said, all right, now fuck this. We've had enough of this shit because, as I said, it happened every Sunday, 3 o'clock after Mass. They'd come down to Agro Corner, mostly men, not women, not kids, men, boys from 16. I call that a boy because it's 16, right? And yes, they were unhappy. They were unhappy about how they were being treated in their own country. So, yes, they went down to give it a fucking go. And again, a gun does not equate to a bottle or a stone to me. Right, that's in a different league to me. If you have a gun and even a baton round to the jaw that will break your jaw, which it did, and that's in the report too. It was by a Malta fucking police.
I know it's all in there. But my point,
I'm saying, it's like it kicked off. They went down to give it a bit of aggro, right? Yeah, it was the wrong fucking move. Rotten.
Now, do you think the same result would have happened if, say, the Coldstream Guards had been the ones by the barricades?
I can't answer that, Wendy. I can't answer that. Look, they weren't allowed to march, right? And they marched. They went because they put on the civil rights movement. It was a peaceful march. They asked what the fragments of the IRA, because it was two fucking fractions at that time, not to intervene, right? They asked them that it was a peaceful march. They didn't want them to intervene. It was just going to be walking down through Catholic areas, not Protestant areas. So it wasn't to agitate like Protestants. It was just for against the fucking shit that was going on against them.
Wasn't the fact that they were heading for the Guildhall now? Wouldn't the loyalists be? Then the trouble would start, wouldn't it? Once they got to the Guildhall.
Well,
they ended up being rerouted to Free Derry, the Free Derry thing, yeah? So they could have their speeches and everything there. Now, the majority of the people in that demonstration carried on been rerouted and didn't have a problem, just went on their way. And
Yeah,
I
they
just
hadn't,
think
they hadn't a clue what was going on. They hadn't a clue what was going on.
I just think
Like, so,
it's a shame that those people that didn't carry on and decided to confront an army the way they, that if only in hindsight, I must say, in hindsight, yeah, because none of us were there. So in hindsight, if only they'd just carried on to the demonstration, the peaceful demonstration.
I blame.
well, hindsight is the
the
beautiful thing.
establishment.
Hindsight is the beautiful
Why?
thing. But again, Wendy, I don't equate a gun to a young fella holding right. And again, right, I understand if you're getting hit, being put in that situation. But if I have a bottle thrown at me, I'm not going to shoot someone in the fucking face that goes through the orbital bone and back out, like comes out the back of the head, blows the fucking head off them. I'm not going to do that. If they're unarmed and they're standing there as a kid, they're a kid at the end of the day. It's a kid.
The soldiers weren't much older, love.
You know what I mean? So like, not in the paratroopers. You weren't a kid when you were in the paratroopers. Like you weren't you were over 21. You were middle 25 to be in the paratroopers because they were elite. They were elite. So no, they weren't kids. And that's what I'm saying. The ones that were kids, that were normal soldiers, that's different. That's different. But you're trained in that shit. And again, if I have my hands up, Wendy, and I'm saying to you, don't shoot me, and you shoot me through the chest, and the bullet goes through my chest and it shoots the 16, 17-year-old behind me, right? O'Donoghue, which he was blamed on carrying fucking nail bombs, right? He was pouring the back of the car. He was pouring the back of the car, brought to it, trying to bring to the hospital. The British police stopped him. They had his body for a couple of days. And the doctor said there was no way that he had a nail bomb on him. There was no way.
Okay, so Jupiter,
again,
what did you want to say, love?
Personally, I think you've got to sort of stand back from it all and just say, what was the establishment doing? Agreeing a march route and then retracting it.
No,
so you
the
can't,
march wasn't supposed. No. The march was banned, Jupes. Right. The march was
allowed march, Jupe. That was the whole point.
The march was banned. It wasn't supposed to happen. So when they found out it was happening, the army made sure that they couldn't clash with loyalists. And we went through it last night. Why, Catholics and Protestants clashing isn't a good thing, right? So the army put up barricades to stop that from happening. That's all. That's why. Right. So the establishment banned that march for some reason. Why, I don't know. Probably the reason, internment, and but the people decided to carry on with the march, banned or not. And I haven't got a problem with that because, come on, I mean, in modern day times today, I said in the video, BLM, in the middle of a fucking pandemic, they were allowed to march through London. So I don't have a problem with that at all.
I think they should have been allowed to march. Why can't they have the right to protest?
Because I think I think it was because of the times they were living in, and because of the reason they were marching. It was to they didn't want internment.
But I think it's the reason that that there's gonna be army there to separate the pair of you. I think that stands to reason. I think it's very much like the people that we get that go on marches now that want to attack the police who try and prevent each other from getting to each other. It's just a similar thing. That's all.
Well, a deadlier thing.
Unfortunately, because it was army and not police. This is what I wanted to ask. Why did they have? They must have had a police force in Ireland.
Okay, the police force couldn't cope. Okay, this is the stupidity of everything. The fucking police force could not cope. Once the factions were fighting each other, right? The people in 1969, the police force couldn't cope. They were being shot at. They were being killed. They were being beaten up.
Okay.
By both sides. Everyone was fighting each other. So the army had to come in and be like peacemakers, if you like. Yeah, that's what happened there, Jubes. The army couldn't cope with it. The police force of the day. The RUC, I think. Yeah, the RUC.
Yeah, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, which was 95% Protestant. So that was the problem right there. You had like 95%
Yeah, but
Protestant
Catholics
police
weren't allowed
and
to join
not
it,
many
were they?
Catholics. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So that's why you had aggro from his side, because it's like,
Hold on a minute. Why
we're
weren't
not allowed to join it.
Protestants? So they had policies that were against Catholics for housing, but when it came to the police force, they had policies against Protestants.
No, Protestants were the majority of the RUC. But then when the Troubles started, any Catholic that joined the police force could guarantee they would get killed by the IRA, because they saw as well they weren't wanted in the police force before the Troubles. So why, what you doing joining the RUC to fight against your own people now?
Yeah,
Shit.
of course. Well, after being
This
treated like
so
you're going to go join that police force, it's like, yeah, because why? It was, if not all, Protestant, because again, no Catholic was allowed to become a Royal Ulster Constabulary, and yeah, that's a contradiction in the name itself.
The
Royal
RUC,
Ulster,
definitely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's changed, now.
It
So it's
reminds me of what Raspek tried to do.
Oh, what? Well, why do you think? Knowing everything I know, and probably Cam is the same, that's why I was so against what Raspek was doing.
Yeah, it's a similar
So
thing,
against it. Yeah, so against it. Because
now I can understand why we've got so many Irish people sort of like backing up Raspek's thing, because they think they're doing it all over again. And obviously, unfortunately, there's some people that haven't learnt the lesson of how bitter it became, and there's some that just wish that they were part of it all. I think that's part of the problem with the youth of today. You got black people that wish that they were part of the civil rights movement and try to relive that rather than what's wrong in the present. And then, that longer that are still bitter from recent stuff that's happened over Ireland. Sort of like giving them what they can do, how they
wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't be able to do it. You go back to 1960, like black in America, or even being in Ireland, they wouldn't be able to handle it.
No, they couldn't cope.
They wouldn't. They'd be like, "I'll give up, take me back to my fucking normal life." I promise it. They wouldn't be able to hack. They wouldn't be able to hack the hack, as they said. It's balls. It's balls. It's a fantasy that they live off. Yeah, their ancestors, right? Yes, their ancestors, and it's like, yeah, we can do this. No, you fucking can't. No, you can't.
What was it? Once one of the black nationalists said to me on a stream, I got friends in the IRA. That's obviously a complete lie when you start stating things like that. And I'm going to get him to get a bullet, to get a gun and shoot you in the head. And I thought the same. I thought, you really haven't a clue about what went on, have you?
No, and it's laughable. It's just like, nobody will go around bragging they're in the IRA, you fucking twat. So again, kind of like that twat over there, but like, hey, yeah, there is a few twats around that. Again, they lived through what their ancestors went through, right? And when I say their ancestors, I mean like their great uncles or great, like my own. So, but that doesn't mean that we could hack what they went through, Jude. No, because I know I couldn't, right? I know I'd give it my best go, right? And I'd probably die trying, but like, yeah, that would be it. I know I like my comfort, right? I like my comfort. I like my care. I like me.
We all like our comforts, and we wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to be thrown back into a situation like that. And
no, you know what I mean. So again, people like that, like their mind frame is stuck, right? It reminds me of like kind of very 1990s, right? That the mind frame is stuck. That they still feel they're oppressed when they come to England and shit like that. It's like, what? No. Okay, I don't see that because my family do very well there. So I doesn't see that. Okay, yes, pre that, like I can see that because in the 90s, 92 and shit like that, yeah. Because but after that, it's like no, it's been fine. So again,
Yeah.
they're stuck in a mind frame where it's like, yeah, fuck the English and the English. All right, move on, mate. We've moved on. A lot has moved on. Now again, Northern Ireland. I can't speak on that because there's 2 bloody Sundays. There's one that happened in 1920 in
And
Dublin,
yeah, I know.
Ireland.
Yeah.
That's their one. And this is their one. And yeah, I can only give like what I know on it. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's a pity, that there's not a Northern Ireland representative for that side, like that would know a little bit more. But yeah, it is what it is. But so again, I can only give what I know. You know what I mean? I'm not a fucking expert. I doesn't really know the whole ins and out of nearly 1,000 years of history between us. So no, I just apologise about that. So yeah,
That's all right. Let me
yeah.
just carry on with the next bit. Which will make sense to people now, because and this is from the Oh yes, Tubes.
I was going to say Irish Flames in the chat, and she's making some comments. I wonder if she'd want to come on, if you'd be okay with that, or.
I haven't got a problem with anyone coming on. If as long as they're respectful and don't start, hating on people, because we're just having a discussion here, wondering why. Yeah. So let's start with the next bit, the next question. Soldiers. So I hate rubber bullets anyway, but the CS gas canisters were thrown by the soldiers, right? And the people who decided they wanted to have a go at the army were throwing the canisters back at the soldiers. So the soldiers decided, right, water cannon. So they brought in the water cannon to disperse the rioters. It seems to me that the Catholic people definitely got a thrill out of rioting. There was a thing about rioting. Otherwise, they would not have dispersed away from the rest of that demonstration and gone to face up with an army. It doesn't make sense. Why do that? Anyway, hopefully that question might be answered tonight, might not. Meanwhile, members of the 1st Battalion of the Parachute Regiment prepared to go in and arrest on an arrest operation ordered by General Ford, the commander of the land forces. The battalion had arrived in Derry from their base near Belfast early that morning. The commanding officer of one para, Colonel Derek Wilford, placed the company by the Presbyterian Church in St. James Street. Wilford had briefed the soldiers the night before about the arrest operation. If rioting broke out, they were to be used as a snatch squad to go in over the barriers and arrest the rioters. Many of the soldiers had seen action recently, not only the action against marchers at Magilligan the previous week, but much more serious action, not only in Belfast, but in Aden too. One of the soldiers who was to play a major role in what followed had been flown back from training in Cyprus early that morning. Well, I really don't know what that had to do with it, but there you go. Around 15:55, 2 things happened very nearly simultaneously. 2 members of the parachute regiment, with their rifles trained on the rioting crowd in the waste ground in front of them, spotted somebody who they said they believed was about to throw a nail bomb. Soldier A and B fired their rifles. Damien Donaghy, age 15, and John Johnson, age 55, fell. The former, who was the target, shot in the thigh, the latter hit by the fragments of the bullets aimed at Donaghy. Yeah. Another shortly before and either shortly before or shortly after, the army in the same position received an incoming round. Soldiers believed that the direction of the bullet showed that it had come from the Roseville Flats. In fact, it almost certainly came from the same direction, but closer, from what's it called? Columbine Court or something, from which Rifleman Hill had been shot 3 months earlier. The single round was fired at the soldiers at the Presbyterian church. It hit and shattered a drain pipe on the side of the church. Though many denied it, this round could not but have affected the army's impression of what lay ahead for them over the barricades. So what they're saying here is that the round, the shooting at the British troops will have affected their way of thinking once they went through the barriers to arrest the rioters. As Soldier O said in evidence years later, and here's what he said: "After we had heard the shot, the mood in the churchyard became more serious. We realized that the prospect of the Roseville Flats being used by snipers had become a fact. We knew that there was someone in there or around there with a gun. This was the first shot I had heard that day. This shot, which hit the church, had a significant effect on the operation. Up to that point, all we thought we were doing was going to arrest people who were rioting. We would have gone in to make the arrest, and most of the men just carrying batons and a few rubber bullet guns, and 1 or 2 having self-loading rifles, SLRs, as protection. As we knew that there were gunmen operating in the area, most of the men carried SLRs. 1 or 2 carried rubber bullet guns." And then he carries on to say, "The man who fired the shot at the soldiers and the man who with him claimed years later that the shot had been intended as a reprisal for the shooting and wounding of Donaghy and Johnson. But it happened so close to the shooting that it did not precede them. Then it happened so swiftly afterwards, the gunmen were obviously already in position to fire at the army before the army had fired a shot." So what they're saying is the gunman, what he's saying is the gunman fired first. Now, this has been an argument decades long, hasn't it? Who fired the first shot? So what we've got here in the Savile report is, on one hand, they're saying that these soldiers definitely shot those 2 people, right? Hitting one in the leg, and it ricocheted and hit the young lad. But then they're saying parallel, at the same time, a shot came from the flats and hit a drain pipe. Now, who do you believe? Do you see what I mean? This is the age-old argument about Bloody Sunday. Who fired the first shot? Now, I don't see any reason for shooting 2 people who they thought might have had a nail bomb. They could have. I don't know. They could have done something else. I don't know.
Are you crazy?
They-
A nail bomb's worse than a fucking bullet.
Yeah, I know. But all I'm trying to get across is this question of who fired first, right? It's a big question, Jupiter. It's been going on for as long as I can remember, right? And it's always been, at one point, people were actually saying Martin McGuinness was in the middle of the crowd with an AK-47 and fired that. You know, there's been so many stories. But in the Savile report, like what I just read out, they said that those two men, well, one man, one boy, were shot. But at the same time, the shot came from the flats towards the army.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think it really matters who shot first. The fact of the matter is, if they had reason to believe that they had a nail bomb, they had the right. They weren't shooting to kill. They shot him in the thigh. It's just unfortunate that it ricocheted into somebody else. That would have been accidental. So one was accidental, the other was intent wounding. It wasn't a shoot to kill. As for the other bullet, it ricocheted. It didn't hit nobody. So
there was another tribunal after that found that there was no evidence at all.
No, this is the last. This is the last tribunal. This is the last one. The Savile report was the last one.
Oh, fuck. Sorry,
Yeah.
hold on,
The Savile report was the last one.
Hold on, sorry, fucking earpod, is that going? Fucking pop, hold on. Sorry, Wendy.
Yeah, the Savile report was the last inquiry in, well, it didn't end till 2012. It went on for years, this report.
Disconnect Bluetooth because that's you're blowing me out there. Sorry, Wendy. Let me just disconnect that Bluetooth there. Sorry.
So let me understand this clearly. The boy that got wounded in the leg, he didn't lead to death or nothing. He survived, hopefully.
Yeah, I do believe he did.
And Johnson, the man that got hit in the head, did he die?
No, he got hit in the thigh.
13 died. Three were shot in the head.
Hang on, we're getting to that. Yeah, we are getting to that. If you could keep it
the first incident out of them
the
two.
first incident, yeah, those two. No, I don't think they died.
Neither of them died. Okay.
No.
Right.
But like I said, it's been an age-old argument about who shot first, and it seems that it was a parallel thing that happened.
Right.
Who the gunman was who shot from the flats, the Roosevelt flats, sorry, not Roosevelt. Who knows? Yeah, who knows who it was?
But
let's
never found the shooter. They've never found him, no?
No, good God, no. Let's carry on with this. Oh dear, what have I done that? So, what do we believe here? Do we believe that the gunman fired first? Do we believe that the other two that the army opened fire on were indeed going to throw a nail bomb? I mean, please, we have to remember here that this is not ordinary circumstances. This is in a place where nail bombs are common everyday weapons, right? Shortly after, no, I've done that. Look at James Street. No. Right. So, as the army vehicles went through Barrier 12 and down Roosevelt Street, the crowds before them began to run and flee. The first vehicle, carrying among others the soldiers who was to become known as Soldier N, turned left into the waste ground of Eden Place. The second, carrying among other soldiers O, ended up in the car park in front of the Roseville Flats. On the way, this vehicle hit and wounded 2 civilians, Alan Burke, Thomas Harkin. A number of arrests were made and rubber bullets were fired. Rioters here within the Bogside itself were now throwing missiles at the soldiers, and then something happened. Okay, what happened? Soldier N says in his evidence, who had got out of his pig, right, had found himself caught in an alleyway between Eden Place and Chamberlain Street. He fired 2 rifle shots over the heads of the crowd. In evidence decades later, he said that he thought this was the only way he could prevent the crowd from panicking him and his fellow soldiers. Savile rejected this, concluding that the N probably fired these shots because he decided that would be the most effective way of frightening the people and moving them on. Oh, okay. This firing was clearly in contravention of the rules of the Army's yellow card, which explained to soldiers the situations in which live rounds were and were not allowed to be fired. But once Soldier N fired these shots, they only hit a building, everything changed. It was very likely that at least part of what happened next did so because of the round of N's firing. Right.
So I believe that.
Yeah. Some of the soldiers from the mortar platoon began to fire from their positions in the Roseville car park. A local priest, Father Daly, and 17-year-old boy called Jack Dudley were amongst those running for cover towards the flats. The priest was ahead of the boy when he heard a shot ring out. The young boy, he remembered, gasped and groaned loudly. When the priest looked around, he saw the boy had fallen on his face, his head pointing towards the Roseville flats. During a temporary lull in the firing, Father Daly went back out into the car park. Another man had turned the boy over and blood was clearly oozing from his shirt. Father Daly tried to stop the bleeding and with his white handkerchief and was joined by a Knight of Malta, one of the first aid helpers on the march, who knelt beside him. Dudley had gone on the march with friends and was looking forward to hearing, Miss Bernadette Devlin speaking. But a bullet fired from a soldier's SLR had entered his body from the outer part of the right shoulder. It travelled through his body, damaging both lungs, breaking his windpipe, and exiting from the upper part of his left chest. With his breathing impaired and his lungs bleeding, death would have occurred according to the autopsy within a few minutes. As he knelt over him, Father Daly realised the boy was dying and he gave him the last rites. He escorted a group of civilians who carried the dying boy through the Bogside, past army lines, in the footage that would become one of the most iconic and upsetting of the Troubles. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I found that very hard to read. The young kid.
Can I have 5 minutes, Wendy, to put across because about the people that died there, because again
they're all going to be mentioned in a minute. All of them. They're all going to be mentioned. Each one that got killed and how they were killed are all mentioned. I have not deleted anything from the Savile inquiry, and I find it very upsetting that young boy died the way he did by the gun of a British soldier.
Again, he had no nail bomb on him. McGinley was in
No,
front
we've
of him.
moved forward.
He said not to shoot me, and he was shot, and there was no nail bombs on him.
Cam, you've missed a bit. We've moved on. We're now on to Father Daly and this young lad were running towards the Roseville Flats to get out of the way. Okay, and as they were running away, the young lad was behind Father Daly, was shot, and he fell. Well, he died. And he was only 17.
Yeah, he was shot in the face.
Well, he died. He wasn't. He was shot in the shoulder that went through his body and came out at his chest and going into his lungs and came out of and exited out of his chest. And the young lad died within minutes. Father Daly didn't know that when you know that picture of him.
He probably coughed up blood. That's why people think he was in the face.
Yeah, but when that iconic picture of Father Daly carrying that young lad through the streets, the young lad was already dead. But Father Daly didn't know.
In that second one, I would blame Soldier N completely.
Yeah.
So the first one, I wouldn't blame the soldiers. The second one, I would.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he broke with procedure. He was told, well, you shouldn't. Everybody, even I'm a layperson, and I know you don't fire fucking random bullets.
Well, the young lad was running towards the Roseville Flats. He can't have been any threat.
They were trying to get to Chamberlain Street. They were trying to get to
Yeah, but he can't have been a threat to anyone at that point.
It's not even if it's to do with being a threat. Soldier
It is, because if he was a threat,
made everybody startled, which made them do a crowd panic.
No, if he was a threat, Jupiter, believe me, if it say he was like the others who had the nail bomb, right? Different. This young kid was running behind Father Daly, and he was shot and killed. And to me, there's no reason, no rhyme, no excuse, no I'm following orders. That should not have happened.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So the second one, I think the soldier was responsible. Sorry. But anyway, go on, let's carry on.
Cam, do you agree?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, do you agree that the soldier was responsible? That it should never have happened? And even, I'm following orders. No, there's a time when you stop and think and go, hang on a minute,
Of course. Again, it's unarmed, and he was a boy. He was a boy, and he was fleeing. He wasn't running towards you. He was trying to run to get to Chamberlain Street, which would have been safety, and that would have been away from you. So no, that was uncalled for shit. That was totally uncalled for. And again, that was in on series of shit mistakes that was made right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and this is the whole series for the next 30 years to come. This day.
Yeah, exactly. So let's carry on. At the same time, the only woman to be wounded by a gunshot that day, Margaret Deary, aged 38, was shot in the same car park as Dudley, as were Michael Bridge, 25, Michael Brady, 22, two other men, plus McCarran, 30, and Patrick McDavid, 24, were hit by debris caused by the firing. A 40-year-old in one of the Roosevelt Flats, Patrick Brolly, was probably injured by the same firing. Meanwhile, soldiers from the anti-tank platoon of the Para Company reached the ramp at Kells Walk on the west side of the Roseville Street, about 80 yards in front of the rubble barricade that had been put up by civilians to prevent the army vehicles going any further into the bogside. Almost immediately on reaching the low wall that was faced that faced the rubble barricade, the soldiers opened fire. Michael Kelly, 17, was shot and mortally wounded. A group of civilians came to carry his body away. Soldiers shot and killed 5 more people around the rubble barricade. Hugh Gilmore, 17, William Nash, 19, John Young, 17, Michael McDavid, I think that is, 20, Kevin, oh, I do apologise if I get this wrong, Kevin McKeary, well, wouldn't you just know it? Wouldn't you just, hang on, right, just hang on a bit.
Sorry,
hang on a minute. That wasn't you, Dupes. Dupes, that wasn't you. That was somebody completely different. But anyway, so what I did there was I went on to mute. I can't remember how long for, let's see. And carried on with the names of the people that were shot and how they were shot. Hang on. No, I think I'm still having to deal with matters. Yeah.
So while we're waiting, Wendy, I'll just quickly ask you.
Mm.
The soldiers drove up, saw the barricades, and they started randomly shooting.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I hate saying it, but yeah.
See, they're responsible then as well.
It was a build-up. It was a build-up, Dupes, of, you know, like that, looking at us like we are troublemakers, hooligans, and yeah, enough was enough. They, you know, he said, right, just go fucking do it. Go, you know, give them a warning shot, but then shoot, you know, and yeah. So again, when you have enough, you have enough, you know what I mean? But like that day, led to fucking barbaric shit after that. Like, I mean, that was only the start, so yeah.
Just bear with me when I get the point when I come back on.
So Wendy, can I ask you a question if you don't mind me asking? Like,
No,
you don't have to answer. Like, but do you agree with David Cameron?
The only woman wounded by.
Oh,
sorry, it's okay. What were you saying though?
Do you agree with David Cameron apologising from your country to our country for what happened that day, and obviously then the shit that was gonna go happen after that, like for Turkey?
I agree with Cameron for apologising for what happened that day, but only that day.
That's what I mean, like, because that's what he was apologising for that day.
Yeah, after I read the Savile report, right, I felt sick, and I wholly agree that David Cameron did the right thing. As far as I'm concerned, he couldn't have done anything else but apologise.
No, listen. I mean, for that, look, for him to recognise it, it's fucking better than nothing. But like, yeah, I'm Republican Irish, so yeah. But to me, I was just just wondering how you felt.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But
no, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I think I've come back from said phone call.
Yeah, he definitely.
Margaret Derry. Sorry, Dupes. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, yeah, he definitely should have apologised on behalf of the British Army. What they did was disgusting so far. With the exception of the first incident, I don't believe that was the Army's fault, but the rest of it, yeah, definitely. So far.
Exactly. And yet people who will, well, anyway.
But Cam, what do you think? Do you think they should have apologised?
Me personally, yeah, because that you are the bigger opponent. You know, you are like more weaponized than us. Like, so again, like, yeah, whether and it is very debatable, right? Even, and it's a bone of contention that like it's like it does kind of even get me shackled up a little bit, right? That like, yeah, who fired the first shot, right? It shouldn't really matter who fired the first shot, as you said. Why? Because 13 innocent people were killed on that day, most of them fucking 17 up to 21, and couple of 50-year-olds and one 41-year-old. But after that, 30 years of nothing but misery, barbaric. So, yeah, I think that was the least, you know, that could have been said between both their countries. You know, like was you know, sorry for
definitely for that day, definitely.
You know, so yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's the least he could have done for that. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Because you got to remember also, Jupes, that the Prime Minister, he was not apologising to the IRA. He was apologising to the people of Northern Ireland.
Of course, look, it wasn't about the IRA. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
A lot of people think it was. Do you see what I mean?
No,
and this is the point.
No.
Yeah, this is the point I want to get across. The
No,
apology.
that's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid to think that. No, it was an apology to the people of Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
The people, right? Because they were the innocent people there. Even to this day, are probably still being fucking tortured and all this shit. So like that, we just don't know about why, because it's not making that much headlines anymore. Like we'll only see little glimpses every now and again. I don't know because why it's only being brought back into the news now. So yeah, you know, it's like. No, it wasn't that's just retarded. Why would you? No, that's just fucking retarded. So I was like, no, he was apologising to the people that had to suffer through the shit, right?
Exactly.
That didn't want this. So, no, that's just stupid to say, yeah, right? It's like,
right. 38 was shot in the same car park. Yeah. I know, I'd already read that, hadn't I? Shortly afterwards, some among the soldiers had been. So it seems to me that, here we go. Yeah, James Way, 22, was shot and wounded. John Friel, 20. Michael Quinn, 17. Joe Mahoon, 16. And Patrick O'Donnell, 41. And Daniel Gillespie, 32. Was also wounded as a result of army fire. Among the dead, James Way was shot twice. The second time, as Saville concluded, probably by lay dying, or was probably as he lay dying on the ground. So Saville concluded. Now, why would Saville come to such a conclusion?
Oh my God!
He wasn't fucking there. Anyway, so
that wasn't
the reason I say that is because Saville obviously knew something we didn't, because that man, that Lord Saville, concluded right that guy died while he was lying there dying. So that means that he was shot. He was shot once, and that was going to kill him anyway. But then someone came along, i.e., a soldier, and shot him again. So it's something, you know, Saville knew something, because you don't come to a conclusion like that without having the evidence when you're doing an inquiry as important as this one.
And the amount of money that was spent on that one?
Oh, Jesus Christ, millions upon millions, yes.
Yep. So, yeah, they made sure, because they done the first one, which was set up like maybe...
that's not even worth talking about, the Widgery one.
So it's like, yeah, so that one, like, it was just whitewashed and done. But this one, it was properly delved in, and yeah, like a lot of years and a lot of money. So, yeah.
I don't know if any of you can remember Bernadette Devlin. But what she had to say didn't help matters, right? Because a few days after what happened, she come out with these words, and years later, even at the Saville inquiry, she said them again. Yeah, there was 13 people. These were her. There was 13 people died, murdered, as she put it, on that day of January the 30th. So 13 people. So we're going to send back 26 bodies back to England, and I won't shed a tear for any of them. Now, she said that back in 1972, and when she sat giving evidence in the Savile inquiry, right, in 2010, she said exactly the same thing again. And to me, this comments, stupid comments like that, really don't help matters.
Yeah, disgusting, immaturity. Yeah.
Little Miss Bernadette Devlin, who Bleeding Heart would love to meet, apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Among the soldiers who did the shooting in the Glenfella Park, one soldier, Soldier G, went into the neighbouring resident court of Abbey Park and there shot and killed 35-year-old Gerald McKinley. Some witnesses said he had his hands up in the air and was shouting, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." The bullet that passed through his body also went into the body and killed Gerald Donnelly, 17. Shortly afterwards, some among the soldiers who had been firing in Glenfrada Park and Abbey got to the bottom of the corner of the park overlooking the Roosevelt Flats, or a soldier firing from this position shot across Roosevelt Street at 4 men between Roosevelt Flats and Joseph Place. The casualties included Patrick Doherty, 32, who was mortally wounded. As he lay dying, he cried out. Bernard McGuigan, 41, went to help him and was shot in the head, dying instantly. 2 other men, Patrick Campbell, 53, and Daniel McGowan, 37, were wounded by bullets in the same area. So there was also, there was gunfire everywhere, it seems. It was an absolute chaos, mess, and killing ground. But my question is, why? Why was it allowed to become a chaotic mess and killing ground? I think the first mistake made was certainly the mistake of when the demonstration was rerouted, that some of them decided they wanted to go and scream and fire things at the army. The wrong regiment was certainly sent there, and for reasons unknown, these certain people were certainly unarmed civilians were killed. There have been claims over the years that the soldiers were only following orders. Personally, I don't take that as an excuse, but right, I will say that the soldiers themselves will not have been men of any age. They would have been between 18, 19, 20, 21. Soldiers of not much experience, if you know what I mean. So it was a mess. But the question that comes creeping up every time was Martin McGuinness there? Did he fire a shot? Now, yeah, that question, it would be good to have the answer to that question, right? But all in all, was the conclusion of the Savile inquiry correct or not? The conclusion I will read live, because I'm running late, as always. I'm always a late person, but yeah, I'm running late as always. So you heard Jupiter, Cam, how the others were shot. how can you defend that? How can a person, you can't defend such actions as far as I'm concerned. You just can't. So one guy was shot, and when another guy went over to help him, he was shot too and killed.
The thing is, if they were being caught in crossfire, you could kind of say, okay, well, there was crossfire going on, but it's not crossfire, is it? It's not crossfire. No. It looks like that they drove, especially when they say that they drove up and just started shooting. That's pathetic.
Well, that's what the Savile inquiry says. They got to the homemade barrier that the residents had made to stop the soldiers getting into the Bogside, a certain part of Bogside. And as soon as they got there, kind of thing, they just started firing.
But see, we have to remember that, mind you, they were army. They would have been in army uniform. I'm thinking of police. I was going to say they wouldn't have.
No. They were trained soldiers. Yeah.
They were trained elite soldiers.
They should have been able to separate that crowd and move that barrier without a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, if they shouldn't have went. Look, they shouldn't have went into the Bogside, right? Because they weren't meant to go. Why? Because it would have been very hostile. Because yes, it was full of Catholics, so they knew there were certain no-go areas that they didn't go in, right? It was as simple as that. And
later that year in 1972, the army went in and cleared out the Bogside in August 1972 to stop the no-go area, because it was literally, it was run by the.
Look, it was a no-go area. I'll admit that it was a no-go area. You know what I mean? And again, they deviated off what they were ordered. It was as simple as that. Like, because they were brought in, they thought they were going to have a fucking war, and then they seen there is no IRA there. There isn't. They were told, and when Gerry Adams wasn't there, again, like, because Bishop Daly, who became a bishop, right? He wasn't killed, as we know, with the handkerchief lead new, right? He said it. An IRA bloke, after your man had been shot, he's holding him on the ground and he's dead, right? And he doesn't know he's dead yet. And he sees a bloke coming at the side of the houses, and he sees him pull out, which looks like a small little handgun, right, out of his pocket. Now, this is his statement to the tribunal. And he says like that, he told him like to go away. Now, the IRA bloke did fire 6 shots, right? 6 shots, but they didn't hit anybody. Fuck, it's like, what the fuck were you doing? He didn't hit anybody, right? So, but you can take that as like, of course, if you're gonna fire at me, I'm gonna fire at fucking you. So I can understand that shit. He jumped on the ground. Father Daly told him, like, basically, piss off, go away. You're gonna get us killed. Go a fucking way. And that's in his statement that he said to the inquiries, both of them. And it's like he pissed off. He pissed off. So 2 incidences, like, where the IRA came involved. 2 incidences. So no, Gerry Adams wasn't the figure. He was like
Martin McGuinness. Martin McGuinness. I was talking about, love, not Adams.
Oh, Martin McGuinness. Martin McGuinness. I've never heard that he was there, and that's being honest. Because that's, I was like, well, Gerry Adams. No, because as I said, from Operation Demetrius, he had been locked up in like.
Yeah, he was locked up. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So that's, I was like, that can't be him. So again, after this is when they formed, and this is when they properly came the IRA after it. But Daly said, you know what I mean, that he fired 6 shots at the side of the house, then told him to basically piss off. He fell on the ground and he was crawling away. He crawled the fucking way. So there was no more bullets, there was no more guns, there was no IRA poking around the corners waiting on them, as they had taught. There was only civilians hiding in abandoned flats.
So really, you know, the IRA should take part of the responsibility for what happened that day. Yeah. But the majority of what happened, I mean, the IRA did not shoot the soldiers' guns. the soldiers, for the life of me.
Are you reading what Dennis wrote in the side chat?
You see, there's no getting through to some people. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Martin, oh, here we go. Let's have a look. Martin McGuinness admitted to infliction that personally fired the shot from atop. What are you on about? Why are you using that name? Wait a minute. Why are you, Danny? Why are you using the name infliction? That's interesting, isn't it?
Danny,
he admitted to infliction. Infliction was a yeah, Danny, it's not going to work with me, right? Just because I haven't mentioned it here doesn't mean I don't know who infliction is. Okay, now infliction was a double agent, right? And he gave evidence at the Savile inquiry, and he said that McGuinness, right, was there with his submachine gun. Okay. Now I'm sure that the helicopter that was flying above.
Yep.
I'm sure that he may have caught McGuinness on may have seen somebody running around with a fucking submachine gun. But I just find it interesting that Danny comes along with the name infliction, thinking that people are not going to fucking know who that is. Don't take me for a fucking fool. You see, I get angry. I get angry when people think that I'm a fucking idiot that doesn't know what went on.
It's because he wants to get some credit points.
Well, he ain't got any.
You see that hand where it's Danny Hoax Jones, stop. Actually, it's please, miss, I'm putting my hand up.
No, you haven't got any for that comment. I don't like that comment. I knew about infliction. I know he's a double agent, right? And I know the secrecy that went on about getting him to the Savile report and the amount of money it cost to get him to the Savile report. I know all of it, Danny. So don't come here thinking you're giving me... don't come here thinking you're giving me information I don't already know. But I don't see how it's fucking relevant to the 13 lives that were lost.
So Leo says that Martin McGuinness was not the leader until 1978, but he must have been. Otherwise, he must have
Martin
been.
McGuinness was a big part of the IRA, not Gerry Adams. Gerry Adams was always more of a political ideologist. He knew about what went on, but Martin McGuinness was always part of the IRA, and it was after the Enniskillen bombing that Martin McGuinness lost the taste for bloodshed and started thinking of a way for peace, between everyone. And that's why we got the so-called Good Friday Agreement. But people like Danny, that you see, they're the people that make me angry. Because I wasn't going to mention infliction. No, but I wasn't going to mention infliction, right? Was not going to mention it at all because it has nothing to do with the 13 people that lost their lives that day. But he comes along, Martin McGuinness told infliction. Well, okay, so Martin McGuinness was there. So what? Does that mean that the 13 people wouldn't have been shot or what?
Can we not just time the annoying twat out today?
No, this is how passionate I get, Jupiter, about people that try to twist the fucking truth, by adding stuff that doesn't need to be adding when we're talking about the death of 13 unarmed people.
No, Danny, you didn't. I mean, you heard that they put me down, and you're now asking again, like whatever. I'm not getting into it with you, Danny. It is what it is.
Yeah,
like, I don't know why you
attention. It's attention begs again. And the fact of the matter is, we'd already discussed it, and in my opinion, no, it's irrelevant who fired first.
And not only that, it's irrelevant for. No, Oh, you're way behind then, aren't you? Because we're talking about the 13 people that were murdered, right? We're not talking about infliction, okay? Who you thought, you see, he thought he was coming with information that nobody fucking knew about. Go away, Danny, right? Because there's nothing you can tell me I don't already know about. Fucking idiot. Trying to make things worse than they already were.
Well, that's all he does, isn't it?
No respect. No fucking respect. So as I was saying, 13 people murdered, because that's what they were. They were murdered. And I don't understand why the powers that be, if you like, have tried to make excuses up over the years. I know the IRA have done atrocities far worse back. Yeah, far worse back. But we're talking about this atrocity before anyone pipes up with that one. And I'm afraid, as far as I'm concerned, my conclusion is that 13 people were murdered that day. And I can't find any real reason as to why they were fired upon in such a way by professional troops.
Just wrong. But I mean, for the entire period of the IRA and everything else, each incident, you've got to look at each incident separately. Whether
of course.
People want to be biased in one group or another, you've got to look at the actual circumstances. This is the stuff that people forget nowadays.
Well, that's why I said we'll stick to this day, because if we fluctuate back and forth between like before and after, we're going to be here for a very long time. And of course, we're going to get like biased because it's going to be.
Well, that's why I didn't want to bring infliction into it and things like that.
So that's I get that, and it's like, all right, I get that. So it's like, Danny, again, whatever. Again,
what's the point? It doesn't take away from the 13 people that lost their lives.
It's not about that, because that's another day, Danny. That's another day and another fucking subject, right? A different one to be talked about. Again, this one is acknowledging that 13 innocent people were killed for fuck all, right? So
for nothing.
So it's not about double agents and shit.
No, we're not taught what. No, that's what has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. So again, Danny, like, you do be always like listening from behind, but you know what we're talking about. It's so weird, so weird. But again, I'm not getting into it with you, Danny.
I want to ask Jupiter, can you think of any reason why the MOD would want to make up fucking excuses, whitewashers, and it was only when the Savile report was done that the fucking truth came out? I mean, this was 20 odd years later that the Savile report came out, after the event, kind of thing. Well, 30 years later.
Tribalism, that's all.
Yeah.
So they would have had the mindset that they've got a cover for their soldiers. So the soldiers are going to put in stories probably to back each other up, number one.
Well, that's what happened in the first one. They basically said that they were right in what they'd done that day.
Yeah, tribalism.
Right? And that was wrong. You know?
And then you're going to have the mindset of MPs that want to believe that they're innocent and back up their army. They would have had their own sort of innate prejudice and belief that they were superior. It's sad. It's very sad.
It is, yeah. So, as I mentioned Bernadette Devlin and the horrible things she said, the only thing she said after that I totally agree with, right, was she walked out of the Savile inquiry. She was subpoenaed there because she didn't want to go there, but she was subpoenaed there. And 3 days later, she wrote an article in The Guardian, I think it was, where she said that the only people that should be prosecuted, right, and took to trial over this should be the British government. And I got to agree with that one. I've got to agree that the British government were partly to blame as well.
Was it? It would have been the British government that would give the orders to the force, isn't it? To the army.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
To a degree.
But
to a degree, yeah.
But I disagree, because Soldier N specifically went against army procedure.
He did.
Yeah, but then what did they do? They went and tried to cover it up with the Widgery inquiry, which said, oh, the soldiers acted perfectly. There was nothing.
So I would say, yeah, the government at the time are held responsible, plus that initial soldier.
Yeah.
And the others that deliberately drove. All the soldiers should be held accountable for their own part in it. You shouldn't say, oh, no, we can blame the government and not the soldiers, because the soldiers decided on the ground what actions they were going to take. And unless they were specifically ordered to just drive at the people and shoot randomly, which I don't believe, you can't hold the you know.
Well, they have a rule of engagement, Jupiter, right? They all know it. And it's a yellow card, and it tells them when they should shoot, when they shouldn't shoot, and blah, 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 right? Yeah. So that's the rules of engagement. And it seems to me that day, that went flying out the fucking window, because the rules of engagement were ignored.
Yeah, so the soldiers should be responsible, and then the government should be responsible for the cover-up. But I don't think we should be alleviating soldiers on this count. No, maybe on other incidents, but not on this incident. The only soldiers that I would say, the only ones that I would say probably are not responsible are the ones that fired the first two shots at the two people that got injured, the two civilians that got injured and didn't. The one who got shot in the leg and it ricocheted up into the other bloke's head, Johnson and Donahue. Those two, I don't believe that soldier should be held accountable. I don't think he done anything wrong.
Yeah, but it's just the whole scenario of what happened, the way our government dealt with it, with that Widgery inquiry, which claimed the soldiers did nothing wrong. 25 years later or whatever, a lot of people, memories are really bad. Soldiers can't even remember what they were doing. Do you see what I mean? It shouldn't have took that amount of time, but unfortunately, because of what was going on and other events were taking precedent.
Yeah, but unfortunately, directions of bullets, where they end up lying on the floor, the forensics, that can give you a good idea of what goes on anyway.
Well, no, they went around and picked them all up, didn't they?
Oh, for God's sake.
What are you suggesting here, though? What, like corporal punishment for what happened that day?
No.
No, not you, Jupiter. What do you think should happen?
If they murdered someone, they should be put away for murder.
Yeah, but then you're going to have to look at the Good Friday peace agreement, right? Where a lot of people was released from jail and, people were...
Yeah, that's separate. I mean, if we get into that, that's something different.
All connected. If you're going to start bringing retroactive... No, I know that, Dave,
but we're going incident by incident. I'm talking about this incident. If we go into the Good Friday Agreement where they let off terrorists for blowing people up, I don't agree with that either. Murder's murder.
And terrorists on both sides, mind you. Terrorists on both sides.
Yeah.
About compromise, innit? And people made a lot of compromises. So to then try to prosecute people in retrospect, ultimately
the government made compromises. I don't believe that. Do you really think that all those victims' family was asked if they minded it being compromised, that no one gets? Victims on both sides. Do you think they all got asked what they wanted?
These conversations.
They should have been given a vote, to be fair.
Well, I don't know about the vote thing, but these conversations were had at the time, but people felt it was important to ultimately make those sacrifices to have peace, right? That was the sacrifice. People actually letting this stuff go and moving on and actually agreeing.
So you're saying every innocent soul that got killed in Northern Ireland on both sides all of those families that lost a loved one said that they all just wanted to move on. I don't believe that for a minute, Dave. That's bollocks. What you're saying is the establishment said that. Shall I tell you why I don't believe that the people that lost loved ones said that? Because there's loads of people still bitter living in this country right now.
No, both sides the majority on both sides agreed to actually have peace, right? And then there was the small factions that ultimately didn't agree to have peace, and they carried on, obviously, with what they was doing. But most people thought it was worth making that sacrifice. Not everybody, obviously not everybody, but...
Yeah, but I don't think it's down to everybody to decide. I think it's to the ones who lost their loved one.
You're saying is basically it never ends, because then people just hold grudges forever, and then ultimately the violence just carries on.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying murder is murder, and we can't say just because people got killed on both sides, we call it quits.
No, but that's what happened.
Because it wasn't the IRA fighting; it was innocent civilians.
No, but that's what happened. People did actually let bygones be bygones, and people agreed to...
I think that's why there's probably resentment.
Well, there's always going to be resentment, obviously, but
I think there's also going to be victims in Britain who had family members blown up inside pubs. You know, the little boy that got killed. I'm sure there's plenty of other people too that never got asked either. And I think it's down to the victims that should have got asked, not people that are arrogant enough to think that they were leaders of the community.
There are never inquiries into anything that has happened in this country. Nothing.
Well, so what would they be as well? They be asked? Should there be peace, or what should they be asked?
No, they should be asked. Do you mind if part of the deal we absolve both sides of any guilt? And if the majority of them say no, we want them done on both sides, then that's what you go with. If the majority say yes, then that's what you go with. But you don't ask that. You don't let the government do it and the terrorist organisations do it. And I'm sorry, Cam, that I'm using that word, but that's how I see it because I'm English. So you don't have the IRA speaking on behalf of innocent civilians. And you don't have the government speaking on behalf of their innocent civilians.
Now, what actually happened was that when the Good Friday Agreement was made, Tony Blair gave all the terrorists, if you like, letters of freedom. So they could never, ever face an inquiry or court or anything.
And Wendy, that's why I'm saying...
You know why they've done that, Wendy, don't you?
No, I don't. Considering that there's been, I don't. No,
it's so that they could turn around and say, "We're not going to do any of your terrorists, and we're not going to put any of our soldiers in prison."
Well, and then
even though they broke the procedure and they murdered people, and so did the terrorists. And it's fucking disgusting because, as per usual, it's ordinary people that suffer.
But ultimately,
no, I don't know why Tony Blair did that. I never understand why Tony Blair did that.
It was also Ulster Unionist terrorists too.
Yeah. They all got their freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And they should have been held to account as well. Yeah,
exactly. No. And the Catholics weren't happy with that. Like I can tell you, a lot of Catholics weren't happy with either fucking IRA or them getting out.
Exactly.
They believe like you that they should be. Doesn't matter. They should be locked up for what the fuck they done. But I see what you're saying, Jubes. But yeah, they did cover up, but they left it a little bit too long. So to bring somebody at 80 years of age, to what are you going to do with them then?
No, I disagree, Cam, because we can do it. No, Cam, we can do it for Nazis.
Hang on, no. Wait a minute. This is where
no. Charge them and say, listen, you killed an innocent person that day, right? But again, what are you going to do with an 8-year-old? You know what I mean?
No, hang on. Jupiter, we did it to Nazis, right? But you have to remember that Tony Blair gave freedom letters to people who murdered Lord Mountbatten, soldiers in Warren Point, the bombers of all the pubs in the UK, the Birmingham pubs, the Guildford pubs. He gave letters of freedom to all of them so they could wander the fucking streets as ever, and to the loyalist
yeah,
terrorists,
it's wrong.
right?
It's wrong.
So
It's wrong.
yeah, so what I'm saying is, you cannot look at it as, oh, Nazi hunters went looking for Nazis into their 80s, because it's not the same thing at all.
Well, it's 40 years in the difference,
Well,
right?
to me,
It's
it's the
40
same
years
thing.
in the difference. That's
To me,
How can
thing.
it be the same thing? We didn't hand out letters of freedom to Nazis.
You're
Well,
hoping it. Yeah.
exactly, my
Well, I'll
point.
agree with that.
But that's
I'll
not the
agree with
point.
that.
Tony
You're
Blair
right.
had no right to hand those letters out. It's disgusting that he did.
Well,
Yeah,
it
but
was
if
kept
you're gonna
secret,
start
right?
prosecuting
Okay, so
for
the
actions-
90 when the Good Friday thing was done, right?
Typical Labour.
Do you think that we were told about these letters? No, we only found out years later.
Well, I
we were
didn't know
found
before I
out.
left Ireland. I'm only finding out now. So, and that's
Exactly. We
on
only
heart. I
found
didn't
out
know
years
that.
later when an IRA known terrorist was picked up off the fucking street, right, by I think it was the police, and he out of his pocket came a letter, blah 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 blah. They went investigating and found out that it had been ordered by the Good Friday Agreement. That was part of it.
She was a part of the deal. That was the thing. So if you're going to start going backwards now and then starting to look to prosecute people who have committed,
No, that you can't prosecute them because even though they're guilty.
Then can we agree then that they should be given something like not a fucking reward, not like and I'll use it very lightly, like a compensation.
They've been
right?
given, they have been given compensation. Some of them, yeah.
So so that's what I'm saying. Like a compensation to that was a fuck up, like what happened that day, and yeah, right.
Yeah, some of them have definitely been given compensation.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
So that's it, right. So that I mean, yeah. Right. What can I say about that shit? Right. You know what I mean? Like, so compensation, I think, should have been given to them, but like, yeah, you know what I mean? Again, as I said, I'm not an expert on Northern Ireland. Yeah, so, and it's a DVI, you're going left now off this day. We're going to Good Friday, which is another subject altogether, because it's another time, it's a total different era to what was going on there.
Yeah, but
right?
the only reason we diverted a bit was because of what Tony Blair did with his little letters, yeah.
No, but I think
the
it's
creepy secret Tony Blair, right? He's a little bastard. When I found out about that, I thought, how on earth could he do that? How could he do that?
But is this not a bigger part of the bigger picture, though? Because ultimately we can all go back and forth, tit for tat, on you did this and you didn't do that. Ultimately, the reality is you just got to agree to ultimately.
No, I'm on about the actual government.
All right, let's all agree
right?
to disagree and close the show.
What? No.
Yeah, thanks for that. But what I'm saying is,
why would I do that?
What I'm saying is,
why is Dave trying to shut down the conversation?
I'm not trying to shut down the conversation. What I'm saying to people is, ultimately, what is important is that going forward, because you can get stuck on these things forever. It ultimately just turns into tit for tat.
No. We've agreed that they were murdered. These 13 people were murdered.
Yeah, you've agreed, but a lot of other people
the
wouldn't
Savile
agree.
Inquiry agreed too. And that's why David Cameron had to apologise.
They had no fucking guns. And please don't tell me that a glass bottle or a stone equates to a gun. It doesn't. It doesn't. To an armed, trained professional against a young man or a middle-aged man protesting, that's not on the same level. That was murder. They were killed. And
Dave, when have you ever known a prime minister of this country apologise for anything? They don't. But David Cameron did. He had no choice. He had to.
Yeah, of course, man. Look, I'm just saying, look, when Jupiter's saying things like we should convict these soldiers and shit, it's a bit...
Look, I get that, right? I get that. And if you go down that route, I get that, right? Because, yeah,
we
you know what I mean?
have. But because he's made that dodgy deal, there's no way that we can, but we should have. Dave, if a soldier works within the perimeters of what he's been trained to do, right, and under orders, that's different. But when you're sort of firing into the air when you're not supposed to, when you break with procedure, when you're ramming, when you're going straight into crowds of people and firing indiscriminately, nah, come on. They should be held accountable for the murders that they've done, right, and what they did. It's obvious those 13 people were murdered, and they should be held accountable. However, on the other side, so should all these people that blew up people in pubs, that any of the soldiers that were needlessly murdered, that were off duty or set about, randomly when it wasn't during a procedure or anything else. All that should be, all of those people are murderers too.
Yeah, and my point to that is you're opening a massive can of worms there with what you're saying, because that would blatantly would cause massive amounts of conflict.
Hang on. So hang on, Dave. Do you think that that I'm saying that all of the parachute regiment are guilty? Because I'm not. No, I'm saying the soldiers that did the shooting, they're the guilty ones.
Yeah, of course. And what I'm saying is, if we ever did what Jupiter suggests, we're going to start going back and start prosecuting people from
No, it can't. No,
I think end up on even more messy.
I'm not suggesting we do it. I said we should have done it.
It should have happened in 1972. I'm
saying Tony Blair had no right to do what he did.
What, with the peace agreement?
Yes.
Well, how else would have you got everyone to the table if you didn't offer both sides an amnesty?
But he didn't take everybody to the table. The actual people that lost loved ones didn't even get asked.
I don't know that, nor do you. I don't know that, and you don't. You can't make that you can't make that statement. You don't know that. You don't know people. But you know that for a fact that no one.
I do know that. I know somebody that lost somebody. Yeah.
What? So
I do know that.
What? You know for a fact that somebody who lost somebody at that time didn't come out and say they're willing to turn the other cheek.
Yes.
That's a ridiculous statement, because I'm sure there's at least one family who came out and said they're willing to actually make this sacrifice for there to be
one family is not all the families, is it?
No, then you can't say all.
Look, all of the families that had lost people. Anyone who lost somebody in the Birmingham bombings, anybody who lost someone on Bloody Sunday, any other incident during the whole of those conflicts, right, where it was unfair murder, yeah, and you would have to look at every single case again because of this particular cover-up that the Savile inquiry exposed, yeah. If there was any murders that were out of prejudice and not because they were taking orders, the soldiers should be held responsible. When it comes to the terrorists, they should be held responsible for the people that they killed. I'm sorry, a murder is a murder. Because if it was my son or daughter, that's exactly what I'd want, justice.
Yeah, that's you just grandstanding. The reality is that there never would have been peace if you would have been the leader at that time. Because ultimately we would have had status quo. Because you had to introduce those measures to get people to agree to have peace. As simple as that. If you didn't have gave an amnesty,
so we had to appease the terrorists to get peace.
Wendy, I do not. What I'm saying to you is you choose which side you're on. It's either you do or for there being a hard line, or there's being compromised. There has to be compromise.
No, I agree. I'm great that I'm really happy that there's a so-called peace in Northern Ireland, right?
So am I.
The thing that made me feel sick was when I found out about these letters that went out to both sides of the terrorists. Okay, why that was even done is fucking beyond me.
That's the only way that they say they could have got peace, right? I'm not in for this. I'm not in favor of this. What I'm just saying is simple as if you make compromises or you're hardlined on this position. There's not really an in between.
Okay, so what do you think about what soldiers did on
we give out letters and we say that all the terrorists get let off, but we're doing inquiries into the soldiers.
Dave, where do you have to start, man? Like, seriously, like I was expecting myself to be in this position. Yeah.
So, Dave, what do you think about what the soldiers did on bloody Sunday then?
I think war is extremely messy, and I think
very messy, very confused.
Oh, so you think soldiers should have the right to just indiscriminately kill?
no, but I don't
No.
necessarily know that was in their minds. I don't know what was going on. I don't know because I wasn't there, so I can't say. I think it's a tragedy when anybody loses their life, any innocent person, and ultimately there was bloodshed on both sides.
Obviously, not that tragic because it's always barterable, yeah.
There's always what?
It's always to be bartered with, yeah.
What?
Yeah, we'd have to explain what that means.
Well, the last resort, we can make a compromise. We could just barter and say, "Oh, all right, we'll call it quits."
Yeah, but that's not my position. You're taking a hardline position here, and I don't think that's actually your position.
Because you're upholding what Tony Blair did.
No, I'm telling you, it's either you compromise or you are hardlined. I don't understand what
you
don't
can
understand.
Compromise, but you don't have to compromise on fucking letting every terrorist and every murderous soldier off of the hook for mindless killings.
But it's happened, and we haven't really had much violence since.
Yes, and that's why we are saying it's disgusting.
Right. Okay.
Well, I was watching a video today, and believe it or not, if the violence comes back, it's going to come back from the other side, and it's all about Brexit.
Well, Ulster's, you know that.
Yeah.
Loyalists. Yeah, of course. If you marginalize people and you push people too far, too fast, you might get some people who do act out.
Well, they're already acting. I mean, they acted out last year. There was a vehicle set alight. You know, the very familiar scenes were back again. And it is an actual concern, not a worry, a concern for people that live in Northern Ireland, that the Protestants, if you like, the loyalists will start to play up because they feel that Britain, right, that we have turned our backs on them. That's how they feel.
They have abandoned them, you know. And I did say this. I did say this coming up to Brexit. Yeah, that they're not very happy. They feel like it's leaving them there.
That's right. Yeah, they do.
Well, in fairness, what the fuck can they do? They can't literally take you with them because you don't want to go to England. You want to stay where you are, but like, yeah, England is moving on, and it's like again.
No, the current political party is being weak.
Now now they're very weak. Now they're getting a taste of what was always theirs. Always theirs.
No, I meant the Tory party. The current political position we're in is obviously it's a weak one because I do think the Tories, if they could get rid of it, they would. But you never know what's going to happen in the future with a new leader, right? Obviously, political things will change or could change, or they could get worse. You don't know.
Well, unfortunately, I really do hope it doesn't. But like, yeah, like we're getting little flash signs of it that it is. It's gonna like kind of come back if shit just keep going the way it is. So yeah, because
I heard it with my own ears today. The loyalists actually feel that we've abandoned them, that we don't want them. And to be honest, my point of view is they'd be right. Because personally, if there was a united Ireland, I would actually hang out a fucking flag. I mean, I'm sorry, but...
I've got to be honest, so would I.
Well, what does it matter if Ireland is united now? What does it matter? Yes, all those people have died.
It's their country, and like as I said, like I do see a united Ireland in my lifetime, which I would never had thought 20 years ago, because it has changed. The political weather has changed drastically over here. It's everybody's like jumping on the EU, you know, and unfortunately, you're the main targets, you know, as England. So, yeah, I can see a united Ireland, but I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, because again, like as we were talking last night, we can't just uproot the Protestants and where the fuck are we going to put them, you know? And
they don't intend to go anywhere. They intend to fight. They said. So, I heard it today with my own ears. I thought,
Yep. Well, like we did, you know. So yeah, it's going to go back to the way it was. But this time it won't have England. They will be looking for you to intervene. Just like they'll be looking for the South to intervene.
That's when I will have to get my fucking demonstration fucking boots on, because it's not you know.
There you go. That this time around, it's like leave us to it. Even though we know, you know, but leave us to it, you know. And yeah, that's the best thing. Leave it to us to fight it out, because that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, because it is their land. Whether they like it or not, it is going to be a united Ireland. It is. Sorry.
Yeah, but there's no need to say sorry, Cam, because I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't see a problem.
And I don't see why that they can't be a united Ireland and still have a special relationship with us. It's madness.
Well, we all know why. But so all of us, Dave's left. It won't. So we're all in agreement here that those 13 people were definitely murdered. They weren't shot in.
They weren't shot by way of accident.
No, they weren't shot in battle or anything.
No,
they were murdered. Yeah, they were definitely murdered.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I agree with that.
And it wasn't, and I've got to hold my hand up and say, it wasn't until I actually sat down a few months ago and started reading the Savile report that I realised just what horrific events occurred that day. Do you see what I'm saying? And as a very patriotic woman, you know I am. It's a hard pill to fucking swallow, and it's even harder when you're reading how these people were murdered, and then you've got to think. So why did the MOD allow it? Why did the guy in charge of the squaddies, if you like, why did they allow that to happen that day? What, did they lose control of their soldiers in some way? Is that what happened? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Like the general in charge, you know, or whoever who was giving out the orders. What, did he lose control of his own soldiers that day? And why did they go around picking up all the empty shells from the bullets? Well, what was that about? A bit strange. Yeah. So the Savile inquiry, I think, was a good thing.
Yeah, why did they name it Savile though?
Because look, you got to get. Not everyone's called Jimmy Savile, right? I know how you're thinking, Tubes. This is Lord Savile. That's why it's called the Savile inquiry, because Lord Savile was the one who was conducting it, and he made sure it went the way, the proper way. Everything, it lasted 12 years, for Christ's sake, and everything was gone over time and time and time again. I mean, there's so much of it, of the Savile inquiry, and it went into millions of pounds, millions upon millions. But
there was 4 different books of it, which contained up to like 300 pages or more per book.
That's right.
That I know of, and it's like, whoa, yeah, an awful lot of money, time, and effort was put into it to see it, you know. And yeah, I fully agree with that outcome. Fully agree with it, because yeah, it was the truth of what happened that day.
Yeah, the truth will always win, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And I read the truth a couple of months ago, and I had to come to terms with it, that they were murdered. You know, just beyond me as to why the person who was commanding those squaddies that day, why he allowed such an event to just happen. It's like they lost control of their own soldiers. That's what it seems to me. Yeah. but it's not going to, you know, the compensation's being paid out to the families, but and they were grateful for the Prime Minister getting up and apologising. Well, the then Prime Minister apologising to the people of Northern Ireland, to the Catholic community, because he had to. I've never heard him apologise. I've never heard anyone apologise for anything before, but he had to do it. He was left with no alternative as far as as far as I'm concerned. Now I understand why he did it. At the time I didn't, but after reading all that, now I understand.
Dave's wrote Irish says 250,000 Brits on their way to Northern Ireland.
What?
I don't know what he's wrote that for.
That kind of comment doesn't help. I mean, now, Jupiter, do you understand now why the likes of Jada Franson live in the loyalist areas of Northern Ireland?
Yeah, she wants to be a privileged prat.
Yeah, she feels very safe there, very in control there.
Yeah.
And what's that guy called? The other one, Ian? Is it Ian?
Ian Paisley.
No. The modern one. He lives in Northern Ireland as well.
Oh, Jim Dawson.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them live in Northern Ireland. In that part, in the loyalist part, because, like I said, they are more British than what we are. If you know what I mean.
No, not really.
Like we will like say, oh, hang on a minute, you know, blah blah. No, they won't, right? No.
Yeah, but they're not. Woman. Yeah, but they're not proper British. They might have our heritage, but if they've lived in that country for so long, they're not us.
Yeah, but they refuse. I know, Jupiter. But what I'm saying is,
because if they were, they would have progressed with the same mindset as we've got.
No. That's why the likes of Jada Franson, Jim Dawson, and that other guy. Oh, you know, the one that goes on the Tommy Robinson marches. Rod used to hang out with him. Oh, Christ. What was he? Ian? Was it Ian? I can't remember his name. Anyway, that's why they live in Northern Ireland.
I know.
At the loyalist side,
the one
right?
That used to like Tommy Robinson. What was his name? Richard Inman.
He lives in Northern Ireland. Now,
yeah.
if they felt under any threat, do you think they'd live there?
No.
But they do. And they hold rallies there. When really,
I think they've got a cheek.
Yeah, they have got a fucking cheek. And I think that
I would say they're akin to the fucking Muslims who come here and prayed up and down streets wanting to fucking have Sharia law.
I think that it should be left to the people. Even if things go wrong, we don't get involved, right? We're British shit, right? It won't work this time around. It's just not going to work. And it should be left to the people of Northern Ireland, all of them, to decide their future, not us.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's theirs. It's their future. It's not mine. It's not like, and when I say mine, I mean Ireland. Well, United Ireland, but even then it still won't be. But yeah, and it's not yours either. Again, you aren't in that position where you were a big powerhouse and locking on the countries. No, you have progressed and moved on, and it's like, all right, time to let's go. So again, it's
working class patriot is saying traitor. How are we traitors?
Don't you dare call me a traitor, Dave. Don't. I wouldn't go there if I was you. Yeah. You don't know the fucking half of it, you idiot.
I would call you a traitor, Dave, because you want to bring our kids into a war that we don't need to be part of.
Exactly. It's up to the Irish to sort Ireland out. Wouldn't you agree, Karen?
Exactly. Yeah. And with deepest respect, mind your business. Mind your business. It's not your business. They started it. They were big enough to start it and keep it going, not use them. So let them fight it out. Let them. You want to? We'll fight. We'll fight for it then, because Jim Dawson is an Orange Order, right? And this is who that skank says that I'm associated with, right? Which is quite funny.
You were associated with Jim Dawson. Why would you be associated with Jim Dawson?
Exactly. Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
when I was showing that documentary last night and the Orange Order come on, I think he thought it was going to be really biased. Wasn't.
So that's what's like, hold on for a second now, because so I did. So I jumped the gun a little bit. So again, like there is some like Protestants and Catholics trying to help each other, right? Because obviously, yes, as I said, they feel abandoned by England, but they would rather have us rather than European, right? Let's put it that way. And I would rather
if you listen to what some of the Protestants said, they wish they never had the army go in to help, because actually everybody turned on the army anyway. They would rather have had their own police. So I don't know why they suddenly want us again. No, fuck off. Use your own fucking children.
Well, because now they're the like in the position that we were. So yeah, because you're the powerhouse that was funding everything and giving everything. Without you there, you don't have that. They don't have that. They don't have the might of the UK. They don't have that behind them. So yeah.
Look, I've held this thought for quite a while. And so it is that Ireland should be sorted out by the Irish, as far as I'm concerned.
Northern Ireland and Ireland. Let us fight it out.
All of it.
Let us fight it out for it, you know? So,
it's about time stop treating other countries like they're fucking not grown-ups.
That's what it's like. The big brother and the little brother. It's like, we're always going to be the little fucking brother. So, all right. But let us fight this shit out. Let's fight this shit out.
So we got...
No, James, we're not saying leave them to get battered. I don't think it needs to go into fucking violence. Why can't, if they've already seen, a situation where after all of the troubles during the IRA's times, the only way to resolve it was to actually have talks and communication. If they haven't learned that now, then you can't fucking help them anyway. It's the only way. The only way forward is for them to have representatives who go and speak on behalf of the people, but the people get asked probably a referendum, and then they discuss it. And it's for them to keep having their debates in Parliament until they resolve it. It's not down to us to treat them with kid gloves and keep telling them, oh, well, you're getting it wrong. Your decisions are wrong. Have another referendum until you get the decision that we want, because we want to hold on to the land. No.
Look, I'm going to say it again, right? Let the Irish deal with the Irish. You can't be Irish and British. We've seen that, right? So, for anyone who feels they want to take up the battle or whatever for these people who think they're British, go right ahead. But no, I don't think not one British soldier should ever step foot in Northern Ireland again on a peacekeeping fucking anything. Leave it to the Irish to sort out Ireland, for Christ's sake.
And if they can't, if they do need someone, get the UN to go in. We don't.
Yeah, get the UN to come in, because the UN want a whole part. Are so interested in the island of Ireland, if you like. Yeah, let them sort it out. The UN can go sort it out. We don't need it.
Canada or America.
We got enough enemies without interfering with what's going on in Northern Ireland and everything. Again.
See, so that's why it would be best if it was done a peaceful way, right? A peaceful solution to an agreement that, it's going to be a united Ireland, but you can still be a British servant, citizen, wherever, passport, all that, the way they have, but it's Irish. It's Ireland. It's not going to be Northern Ireland. So the name may change, but like the shit will still kind of be the same, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's the only way I can see it.
Dave,
Otherwise,
it's the only
we'll go back to
conclusion
Murdoch,
you can
you know?
come to after reading the report. Nobody
So
wants to
Games You Love says, so you want all of the Northern Irish troops out of the British Army? Well, I didn't say that. If they choose to leave because they feel that we've abandoned them, because we won't send more troops over there to whatever, that's up to them. But I never said that they had to leave the army. You never heard me say that. But we will, we do not have a right to go and interfere over there. No. It's like, I don't know, say an Irish loyalist army deciding that they want to come over here and interfere with something that's going. Do you think we'd sit back and allow that? No. So what? No. The Irish sort out Ireland and Northern Ireland. We've been babysitting too long. Yeah. Too many lives have been lost. And I think what happened on Bloody Sunday was an absolute disgrace. And I can't believe it was allowed to happen. That the rules of engagement were totally ignored and it was covered up. And the reason why the Savile inquiry wasn't ordered until 1998, right? It was ordered and it took till the year 2002 for it to actually start, was because of all the other atrocities that went on after that. One atrocity would take over from the other, and people, so the only time it could happen was when the peace had got to a point where you could actually concentrate on the events of the 30th of January 1972. Yeah, and I don't care if people don't like what the conclusion is, because it's the same bloody conclusion as what Lord Savile came to after interviewing so many people on both sides, not just
and it's
soldiers.
Actual facts too, Wendy.
Yeah,
it's not like you're bullshitting. It's actual facts.
But funny enough, what they also did, which I found to be amazing in the Savile inquiry, they distinguished between demonstrators and civilians.
Mm.
So they looked upon the demonstrators as different people to, say, the woman who was like walking up the street with a carrier bag going to the shop. She was a civilian. See what I mean?
I'll tell you what else as well. It's made me look with fresh eyes at fucking Jada Franson and Anne-Marie Waters, who want to get involved in the politics over here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I've always said I don't.
The contradiction, Jada, is she's meant to be Catholic, and Jim, he's helping Catholics, and again, that's because of what's going on. Well, what was going on, but yeah, I don't know any Catholic, and that was the thing, Jupes. And again, people like, oh, you are jealous. No, I wasn't. And Betty got on, and Betty did ask the question to Jada, right, about marching down through the bog with the Protestants, right? Because I know no Catholic that would do that. No Catholic, because you're celebrating the day and date when William of Orange and the Scots came in and annihilated the Catholics. So I don't know any Catholic that would walk down that and do that on the 12th of July.
Oh, no. No. That's not going to happen. Good God.
So.
Dave said that I'm nuts because I'm giving away Northern Ireland, but I want a Nigerian PM. She's British.
Who's giving away Northern Ireland?
Me. He said I'm giving away Northern Ireland.
No. What we're saying is, let the Irish sort out Northern Ireland and Ireland. No,
They're
we're not
more
getting
Irish
dragged
than
into
they are
it again.
English, Dave. They're more Irish than they are English, Dave. I mean,
Yeah.
they're on the island, like the island of Ireland. It's not separated. It's not joined at the hip with England. It's like the way Wales and Scotland is. No, it's a separate island altogether.
Yeah,
So
of
if
course it
anything,
is.
they're more
Okay,
Irish. So,
see,
yeah.
now you're never going to change some people's minds, no
No,
matter
well,
what you show them.
No.
I mean, games you love, they are British.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? They're on Ireland. They're in Ireland, maybe Northern Ireland, but it's not physically separated. So again, when if we're going to go by that, like you're more Irish.
Yes,
heritage.
Dave, I am waiting to put my flag out. I certainly am. The day when that they have a referendum and all the people decide they want to become a united Ireland, I'll hang my bloody flag out, the Union Jack out, because at last, Ireland has been sorted out by Ireland. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see how I'm committing a crime.
Well, the only other solution is that if we give rule to the Irish, anyone British has got to come back and live on this soil. These people want to fucking have their cake and eat it.
The Falklands is a different thing altogether. You can't even equate the two. I'm sorry. I love it. I mean, Dave tried that one last night, and it's not going to work. The Falklands, Gibraltar, you can't equate the two. I'm sorry. Games, there needs to be a bit of give in your attitude. Gibraltar, they are all Spanish then. Well, actually, no, because I've got friends who live in Gibraltar and they are British, they're English. They went over there to open businesses, okay? So, you're being stupid. You can't equate. It's not the same.
Don't we own the whole island? It's not like it's split in two.
Yeah, it's a rock.
I don't remember. Hang on, I don't remember.
If you look at the Falklands Island, how many times it's changed hands? Completely.
And Gibraltar is completely different because I can't remember there being like 30 years of fucking war or whatever in Gibraltar. Yes, Spain will stamp its feet every now and then and declare it wants a bit of Gibraltar back.
They want it back, but they can't have it back.
But they can't have it back. They're not getting it back. Yeah, so that's that. Belize, we've got Belize as well. Yeah. Again, it's not equatable to. Why can't people get this in their heads? I don't understand. It's not equatable to what went on in Northern Ireland. It's not the same. Can't you see that, people? Really?
Can't put try compare the two. Even though I do get what you're saying, Games, right? And that's what I said to you. It's a very hard thing because
so I would agree with the lodger on that as well. I think the English should also have their own parliament. I think the Welsh should have their own fucking parliament and probably a bit more funds.
But they do.
And I think that they should have representatives from each. We don't have our own. We have British.
No. The Welsh have their devolved parliament, right? Government. The Scottish do. The Irish, Northern Ireland, they do. Well, we got parliament. We've got the house. We got it.
Having said that, there must be some benefit to it. Otherwise, our government wouldn't do it. Let's be honest.
Why has everybody else got one, but you don't? That kind of makes no sense.
Yeah, but there must be benefit to it, Kaz. There must be a benefit to it.
Well, because we're ruled in England by direct rule, i.e., the Houses of Parliament, right? The other countries, if you like, the other little principalities, they've got their devolved governments because they want to be, be their own bosses, which you can't blame them for. Apart from her up in Scotland, little Miss Diddy, can't stand the woman. But the Welsh, they do quite well. You know, they seem to get on with whatever, and the Scottish do, as long as she keeps her mouth shut. And in Northern Ireland, it's Stormont that is the devolved government there. So yeah, there's only us that don't. We can't say, well, we can go to our government. No, we are literally under direct rule of the Houses of Parliament, Jukes. Yeah. Now, you know that guy that runs around talking about common law, Graham somebody, and he's formed a group. He wants to form a government, right, for England.
See, I can understand in layman's terms why it would look good, but I'd have to look at it in detail to find out, because our politicians are not stupid. There must be a benefit to us keeping the major part of it. I said, because that's what it is.
Well, let's put it this way. In Wales and Scotland, I don't know about Northern Ireland, right, at the moment. We have to pay for prescriptions and go into the hospital. We have to pay the car parking. Yeah, they get it free. Oh, they don't. Northern Ireland, no, they don't now. No, so
yeah, but when did Scotland do? I'd like to know why so many Scottish got no teeth and they've got complete free healthcare, right?
No, and Scotland don't have to pay for their prescription,
and they can go to university and get it all paid. I don't understand why there's so many uneducated Scottish people.
Well, they don't have to pay for their car parking at the hospitals. They don't have to pay for prescriptions. They don't have to pay for even going to university. It's all free. And where does the money come from? I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes direct from Westminster. And yet, we want to be, we want our independence. They're too small. They're not even as big as Ireland.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Wendy, right?
Like, you don't have to say it like that.
The United Ireland came. What would you do if, like, see the way Sturgeon, like, wants a fucking, like, Scotland to leave?
Yeah.
Would now, like, because you're English, right? And yeah, British, UK. Now, me personally, I don't think they should now, and I know that's a bit controversial and they say, yeah, but you've done it. No, we were a separate country. You need England, and I don't mean to be bad to. That's controversial as it is. I just don't think I don't think are better off on his own just yet.
Look, you know, if they want their independence, you know, if there's a referendum, all well and good, but it has to be under the understanding that you don't get the Queen, right? You certainly do not get the pound, right? Because the last time they insisted, this is what they wanted the last time. The pound, the Queen, still able to say that she's the Queen. And there was one more thing, which I can't remember. And we said no, and the government, said no. If you want independence, you lose all of that, right? And I think that is what pushed the vote.
I don't understand why they, no disrespect, but like I don't understand why they want the Queen, and the money. I don't understand that. Like, if you really wanted your freedom or whatever, wouldn't you just take it?
Well, because it'd give them a better chance of their real goal.
Okay, read Dave's comment, Wendy.
Which is to enter the EU, love. Well, Wendy and Jupiter.
Yeah, no. Don't fucking do it. No, I don't think it's Scotland. I don't think you should do that. That's a bad move, personally.
Yeah, that's what she wants. Little Diddy woman. She wants Scotland to enter the European Union. The European Union won't entertain them. They're too small. You know, they haven't got the money to give. The European Union. Well, Wendy and Jupiter, have a nice lives. You won't be seeing me again. Now I know where you both, I think that means stand. Oh. So I'm not allowed to say that 13 people were murdered on bloody Sunday.
I don't think it's that. He's a unionist.
I don't understand him.
I think he's upset that you're saying about let the Irish fight it out, you know, let us sort it out between us, you know, that use like as English, use leave them, which personally I think again it's because you shouldn't. It's like step out, let your little brother fight us. We're far small enough to fight them.
Oh, so he wants to see more British, or he wants to see more British lives taken, does he? Over an argument that we can't settle. We can't settle it. The only people that can settle it are the people that live in that country, and we don't. So
laters, Louise. Louise is off as well. She's upset.
I'm
sorry, Louise. I'm sorry, Louise. I don't think, and I don't mean to upset any. And as I said, I know I'm going to be upsetting some Scottish people. No, I don't think you should leave England to fucking go to the EU. No, because I personally hate that we done it. We voted no twice not to, and they still done it. So yeah, no, we're going to be paying for that like for a long time, and they've fucked us over more than we could ever know. So
see, what Dave doesn't understand is I'm for the union, but not by force. So if the people don't want to be part of it, I'm not going to force them to stay in it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. And I'm talking about all the people. Look, if Scotland want to go and be independent, who am I to tell Scottish people, no, you can't? If all
they can, but they're not having the Queen. Yeah.
Yeah. If all the Irish people want to be an independent island, who am I to tell Irish people, no, you can't? I don't see it the way that these people see it. But they do, and you're saying
can't get past.
No. What I'm saying is they want their fucking cake and they want to eat it as well. Nowhere else around the world does anybody travel to another country and keep their nationality with all the privileges of the country that they came from.
Shut up, heathen.
Apart from when we was in the EU, which it was wrong.
No,
so
some people.
If you went to another EU country,
I get that, Louise, and I mean no offense because I have like Scottish relatives and I love Scotland and I listen. Yeah, like I mean, honestly, yeah, I do. If you do think it's all should be free, but like as you've been saying, be willing to be the British and Irish Isles, but like we're all separate countries, right? But yeah, I don't think any of us should go to the EU. And no, I would never slate Scotland. I'm not slating Scotland.
Yeah, but Louise, you're saying it's coming from Nicola Sturgeon, right? But she keeps getting voted in again. Somebody's voting her in again all the time. So why does her party keep getting voted in?
I'm not slating your country, Louise. I'm slating ours. Why are our children not getting free education right up to university level?
Because we're too busy paying for the others to have too.
Yeah, and why if we're giving it to the Scottish have we got so many uneducated Scottish people? Something's going wrong, isn't it?
Well, all I can say about Northern Ireland is too many people can't get past the we are British thing. Yeah. And I guess until you lose somebody over something that has nothing to do with you, really, you fully won't bother to even try to understand where the likes of myself come from as an English woman. Yeah. So it's like leave Ireland, all of Ireland, to the Irish. Let them deal with it.
Louise. That's really sad, and I believe that as well. Because if you're outside, oh, Dave's done the stream. I'm happy now. I finally know he's well upset.
No, he's a staunch There's no giving some people, right? They think they know it all. They don't bother to look at the details of everything, right? I can't imagine Dave sitting down and reading all the papers on the Savile report. Let's put it that way. He gets impatient if people play a video. So he's not going to sit down and read the Savile report, is he?
4 volumes that I know of. 4 volumes into it. So
yeah. I know. Bloody thing. But it was worth it. I mean, did you know that they had computers so that what Savile did was that the witnesses who came forward, soldiers and civilians and demonstrators, so they could write, like draw on the computer screen exactly the position they were in to what they saw. Do you see what I mean? They could put a circle around where they were and what they saw, and then a circle around where the person was who they saw get shot or whatever. So and Savile, it went dragged on and on and on and on. He went through it.
And it shows where the soldiers shot, like, and they said, like, okay, well, this happened, like, someone fired at this, and they explained, like, why they fired, and then the Savile report found, and with their own, like, your own money, taxpayer money, obviously, but, like, investigators, all the forensic evidence found it all to be bullshit, what they had said in the previous one. And they
the Widgery report. God.
Didn't match up with what they had said in that one. So, like, where the bodies were found, they didn't match up with where the soldiers had said that they were, and where they shot them and shit like that. So all that is in it's all in them. It's in them like that. Dave can go look at it and come back and tell me that, like, they weren't innocent people that were killed.
No, they were.
So,
yeah,
there's no getting around that. There's no getting around that. Like, yeah, like United Ireland and, you know, like the Brits up the north, like, that's another conversation. But, like, for this one, yeah, like, I mean, total wrong. Like, what innocent
but
people
you've been able to see by a few of the comments tonight that some people just will not be moved. You know, there's no giving them.
I know, Wendy, and unfortunately, that goes for both sides. And yeah, that's what you do face. You know, like, it's not as simple as to say, like, oh, like, England can just fucking walk away and leave them there because and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, again, yeah, it's not that easy, unfortunately. So, yeah, it is what it is, but. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? I do see it kind of going back to a little bit of the troubles. Yeah, because we're being used as the EU whipping boy to use.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
now
like
I understand. Can you remember that guy, Irish Pat, who used to come on these?
Yeah, Fat Pat. Yeah.
He used to say to me that he loved the outcome of Brexit. It was really good, and now I know why. He told me that when we first voted to leave, and he said, "I hope it gets put through Parliament because it would be brilliant because it'll mean a united Ireland."
Yeah, because right, unfortunately, why? Because you were leaving, right? But you were put in a very awkward position, and it's like, listen, you have to save yourself before you can save anybody else, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
right. So yeah, you did the best move, and that's a controversial coming from an Irish person too, right? I think it was the best move he's ever done was getting the fuck out, getting Brexit out. Because I'm hoping that there's going to be an Irish exit that we follow suit too.
Do you think you will?
Do what? They done a survey now. Again, this is by the left, so I'm surprised they even put it out. But like, 48% are in favour of leaving the EU. Now that's a lot higher than the previous couple of years before that. So now, and I do believe they manipulate that. I do believe it to be higher because the farmers are unhappy, because they're being paid not to plant fucking food and shit like that. It's like, well, they're not allowed to grow certain things. So it's a total bollocks. It's a total farce. And yes, the EU can supersede Irish laws, which is like, No, that sucks balls. I want out. I want out. Like, so yeah, a lot of Irish people want out, but then you have loads that don't.
Ah, right. Oh, you have loads that want to stay, do you? A bit like when what it was like here.
Yeah, because it's for the money. We're on the gravy train, and it's mostly the left, you know.
Ah, it's the left, is it, that want to stay with the EU? Did I not see that the money that Ireland's dripping into the EU? I mean, just drip, 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 drip. Paying your farmers not to plant and everything else, so that they buy in from the EU. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah, it's quite stupid. It's quite stupid. Like, we have to. The rules of being part of the EU that we have to buy off other countries, even though we produce it ourselves. It's quite stupid, you know. Yeah.
You there, Jupiter? Are you listening to Dave's stream?
No, I'm here. What am I going to listen to Dave for? He's obviously upset, and there's nothing you can do to make. Look, I always say this about everybody, right? I wish Dave well. If he don't want to talk to us no more, he don't want to talk to us. This for me, being in Speaker's Corner and speaking to a lot of people has been 4 years of hell. I'm going to be truthful. 4 years of hell. I've met the most ridiculous, stupid, arrogant, domineering, fascistical idiots. And so for me, I find it really hard when somebody can't just understand somebody's got a slightly different opinion to you. It doesn't mean that you have to. But he was like that with Tommy Robinson for a long time too. You know, every time we criticised Tommy a little bit, he would actually get angry.
Oh, yeah, he used to get angry and bugger off for weeks, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so.
He is quite funny that way, I have to admit. But he's very staunch in his they are British. There's no giving him whatsoever. Yeah. It's like I've got no time for the
Dave said he's leaving the internet. What the fuck did you say? We haven't had to go at him or nothing, and he'll be all right. He'll be back in a few days.
No, probably a few weeks, not a few days.
Yeah, Dave just doesn't like it when me and Wendy don't agree with him fully. But it's all right for him to go wandering around and have slightly different of opinions to us. I get fed up with these people on here that do this. Dave is the least of them. He's okay. I still got a lot of love for Dave, but
Jupe,
I don't know.
Can you make a comment on, because you know this games you love better than I do, on that what I've just.
They have literally given their lives for that land, and you're going, "Oh, just leave them. They are a minority, so who cares?" But aren't native English a minority in London? I'm not saying just leave them. I'm saying they will have to become Irish. They will still have English heritage, but they will have to become Irish. If the majority of the people in Ireland want to be Irish, they will have to go with the majority. That's all I'm saying. I don't see that that's a bad thing to say.
Oh, he's gone.
Again, it's a different one because it's a island.
James, I can, and I'm going to explain to you why I can complain about Sharia courts. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
oh, sure.
Because Muslims are the invaders, like the English who invaded Ireland. Okay, so the Muslim settlers in this country that were foreign born, not the ones that are born here, that were foreign born, yeah, are the same as the ones that were English people that first settled there in Ireland. Now we've got people here whose children are now Muslim. They're British born. They can't be chucked out of the country, but they should still adhere to what the majority of the country wants.
And our laws, yeah.
And our laws. Just like the English that have gone to Ireland should still adhere by what the majority of the Irish want and their laws. It's not a contradiction. It's actually quite consistent and fluid.
Oh, wow. If Baker's belief, JB, the majority in Ireland are already Irish. Northern Ireland is British.
Only, yeah, but even in the Good Friday Agreement, only as long as the minute that those people say that the majority of them want to be Irish, there's already a mechanism set there to kick in. So I'm not saying anything different to what the Good Friday Agreement says, actually, because they've already got that written. That if the majority, should at any time the majority want to be Irish, that it will kick in. But I do think that there should be a referendum. And I think it should be the whole country. I don't think it should be just Northern Ireland making the decision for the whole of the country. Why are we giving them privileged status? When they're not.
Hang on a minute, hang on. Ireland is a country all on its own, so it would have to be Northern Ireland who decide whether they want to be unified with the country of Ireland.
It should be Ireland and Northern Ireland. Why? What about if the Irish don't want them?
Oh, the Irish do want them.
We can't just... No, everybody's got to have the referendum.
What do you think they've been fighting over for 30 odd years? I mean, for the 40 odd years.
It's 900 plus years now. We do that. Will never ever stop. And again, I would love it to be peacefully done, right? That some way it's brought about. But yeah, a united Ireland. That every Irish, no matter even the plastic paddies, Jubes. Yeah, they're united Ireland. Yeah, that's one thing every Irish, North and South, wants is a united Ireland.
You see, but you've got the million British Protestants that see themselves as British. As Freedom for Britain comes along with another silly comment. Well, you will feel that way, Freedom for Britain, because your best pal lives in Northern Ireland, doesn't she? Idiot.
So does Paul Golden. He lives there too.
Oh, does he live there as well? Does he?
Yeah. They all go there.
That's a bit odd, isn't it? How they all live there?
It's quite weird. Yeah, they all go there for some reason. Yeah.
Because they've got privilege, haven't they?
They can hide. They can hide there. They can hide, and they're accepted there. So yeah. But as soon as they step into Ireland or England, boop, they're fucking gone. They're nicked straight away. Why? Because eyes are on them all the time. So yeah.
Athena, why don't you just go away? Go onto YouTube and watch GB News coverage of the glorious 12th today. Then reflect on what you're saying. The Fountain Estate Londonderry sends you all the best.
Oh, you think I don't know what that is then?
Hey, love.
Athena,
she lives out there as well. I don't know why
I don't know what that is, Athena.
What is
You're
it?
one of them that can't be moved, aren't you, Athena? Silly woman or man.
Why are they getting involved in all the Britishness then? Why is she getting involved in what's going on?
I don't know. Why were you so interested in Tommy Robinson if you live in Ireland? It's a bit weird.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Athena, isn't it interesting that a certain person released...
Did he move out? Did he move from Northern Ireland? He moved from Northern Ireland, did he? I just apologise because I don't keep up with Paul Golden.
No.
Wife beater that he is, little scumbag. I don't keep up with him or any of them. So.
Oh, look, it's called Ulster. And what have you done? What have you done to help with the peace in Ulster?
Have you still got her as a mod here?
No. Have I?
Why are you writing that, John?
Whoa. Let me have a look.
The thing is, right, this woman, there was a recording played on another channel.
Ulster,
And it was during, look, sorry,
Connacht
Sam, every
and
time
what?
I talk, you keep talking over me. I don't know what's going on. Should I leave?
Sorry, Jibs.
Right, so there was a recording played today. Yeah. Around the time that, do you remember when we fell out with Tony and Elle over Athena?
Yeah.
To do Danny Roscoe and all that.
Yeah.
So a recording from that time was played today, right? To try and, I don't know, implicate Tony in something or whatever. All it does is prove that, number one, I've never, ever had direct contact with Tony because she's asking to find out how to get in contact with me. Prove that I've never had direct contact with Simon because Simon ain't got my phone number. Proved that Simon at one point was telling Ginger Tony that he don't know what's happened to Athena. He used to like her, but she's changed. And saying that she's a pretty decent person. And 4, now he's going along with her fucking stuff. All it does is show the hypocrisy.
Well, I think you'll find that Athena isn't a mod. Athena's just been blocked. Yeah. So, public annoyance on your way before I do the same to you.
Jupiter has crossed the line. Cross what line, you silly sod? What, because I asked if Athena's a mod?
Oh, yeah, that's crossing the line for him.
Do you remember the meltdown when you got a time out?
Yeah. Well, she's just been blocked, so she can enjoy her rants elsewhere. I'm not having people behave like that. I can't be bothered with them. I'll tell you what you do. If you think differently to us, go and do your own investigations. Go and do your own research and see what you come up with. Don't be biased, right? And just see what you come up with. But I think, a lot of people are not able to be unbiased.
Dowson was kicked out of the Orange Order years ago. He wanted Scotland to stand alone. Well, that's not what you were saying before, Athena, was it? When you were going on about James Goddard and Jada Franson getting money off him.
Yeah, Webby, I can't be dealing with them. Yeah, they come in and they talk absolute rubbish, and yet they can never be bothered to research things themselves. They've got a very blinded view on a situation that they've learnt about probably on the news, and different news reports. They haven't bothered to look into it, and I really can't be bothered with people like that. And her, when she comes up with the so-and-so from Londonderry says, hi, I can't be bothered with ridiculous fucking statements like that neither. How ridiculous. Now you can see why. You can kind of understand why things are like a tinderbox over in Northern Ireland, with attitudes still like that.
I think it's very sad.
Very fucking dangerous. I don't know about sad. But, they choose to live like that. If they choose to live by not being able to get on with their fellow neighbours, right, and everything else, that's up to them. It doesn't fall upon us to go and sort them out like they're our children. No. mean, we're not constantly running over to fucking Gibraltar to sort out the people in Gibraltar.
Right, so public annoyance is saying, Jupiter, you're a Britain, this is your downfall. You speak about truths, then we will show you exactly what the truth is. Wendy couldn't question Danny Jones on Rob 1, 2, and 3. What does that mean? Rape of Britain 1, 2, and 3. Why couldn't you?
Maybe because I didn't want to and I wasn't that interested. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Whoever you are, you don't really matter.
Public
Go
annoyance.
away.
Public annoyance. That was.
Any mods that are about, get rid of them. Don't want to hear from them. Can't be dealing with them.
Weird one. So Wendy did talk about Rape of Britain. We did it over on Wake Up UK, you fool. And I've already re-showed that over on my show. Don't play silly games, Wendy. We know you know.
I know you. You know what? They know. I know what. Public annoyance.
Something to hide, lol. Get rid of him.
Huh?
And that's what he's saying. He's saying you said get rid of him. You're trying to ride something. He's paranoid, isn't he? He's on one again.
He hates it. He hates to think he's going to get hid. He's going to get deleted or timed out. He has a literal meltdown if you time him out. But he seems to forget that I really don't care about his opinion. I've seen how they work. I really don't care. I'm surprised they haven't formed a club called We Are the Lauren, what's her name? Lauren Southern Fan Club after her video yesterday.
Yeah, what was her video about? Because I didn't watch it. Banksy was meant to be doing a breakdown and didn't do it, for fuck's sake.
Oh, it was about the Tommy Robinson. Some of it was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's about everything, really. How she suffered and all the rest of it, and how.
Do you remember when she went to Parliament? Do you remember after she'd done all the stowaway stuff and then went to Parliament?
Yeah.
Suddenly turned left. Remember that?
But now she's saying that Tommy's a liar, and that Tommy's a liar, and that he ruined the life of Lucy Brown.
No, she ruined her own life.
No, and apparently Lucy had a mental health breakdown. Lucy tried to kill herself.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Lucy this, Lucy that. But she seemed to forget that Lucy popped up again in Panorama.
Yeah.
Didn't she?
Yep.
So
she seems to forget that she also stood with Mark Collett in 2020. She was there with Laura Taylor.
Yeah, she talks about 15 minutes about Tommy Robinson and Lucy Brown, and the fact that Tommy was always pissed and he was having to get dragged out of pubs and yeah, whatever. And then she goes on to other things where she's always the goody, and everyone else is the baddie. It's hysterical, really.
Sorry, Wendy. Can I just bring my battery is it's fucked from this StreamYard shit. My battery is fucked. If you're finished, it's been a great 3 hours. I have to say. I wasn't expecting obviously the end bit. I was expecting it more on my side. It's been a good one. I have to say, both shows. It was a pleasure talking it out with you.
I'm glad you've.
You expected it more on your side. Well, what are you, a unionist?
No. I was expecting it like from Irish people, like to be giving me a little bit more shit. But like yeah, yeah. It is
No,
what
if I
it
was
is,
going to do it, if I was going to behave in that way, I wouldn't have even done it.
you
I know myself, and I know how I think and feel. And
No, I
the
respect
truth
that.
is the
So it was
truth,
a good one.
Cam, love, as far as
And
I'm
that's it. Look,
concerned.
that's it. And we said it before. Like, facts don't care about fifis, right? Whether
Yeah.
that's yours or mine or like whatever. But again, yeah, like, and I know it's a very hot subject, you know, of a united Ireland. You know, which is Chucky Arlar, and that's what it means in Irish. Like, our day will come, and it will come, and whether, and please God, it will be peaceful. Please God, it be
Yeah.
peaceful. But it was a very good, it was a very good stream. So respect yourself there, Wendy, for that, and yourself, Dupes, for considering that you didn't know much on the subject at all. You were a
Yeah.
good, you were a good bounce off. So yeah, because I was going a little bit square at times. So yeah, respect for that too. So thanks very much, Wendy. I do appreciate it, but my battery's fucking dying.
All right, darling. Thank you. I
So
appreciate your
God bless.
company. Thank you, Cam.
Take it easy, and it was a good one. Take it easy. Night, and God bless.
Good night, love. Bye bye. Yeah. So who was I talking about? Lauren Southern. Yeah.
But have people forgotten that Lucy Brown was the one who got Ali Dowrall involved, even though she knew that he'd been threatening Tommy Robinson's kid? There's a lot of stuff that goes with Lucy Brown that don't wash clear. She started off on the left, went right the way up to fucking far. She went right, then further right, then extreme right, and then fucking Nazi. I mean, she did the whole fucking spectrum.
What else did she say? Oh yeah, apparently Lucy Brown had to get help, you know, national assistance. I think she means job seekers allowance. You know, everything that happened to Lucy was all Tommy's fault, and it all happened the day of freedom. Oh, and she accused of Tommy of lying. He did invite Ali Dowrall. Now, I got to agree with her on this because I thought I was imagining things, right?
Yeah.
I saw a video where Tommy said, yes, Ali Dowrall will be coming. And that was the night before the thing, right? Now, the following morning, that video had disappeared. As though it had never been there. No. And he was like, and he made it clear that Ali Dowrall was not invited.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened was he said he'd heard rumours that Ali Dowrall was coming, and that's not true. He hasn't organised it. But if Ali Dowrall wanted to get in touch, he's more than welcome. Then, because Lucy Brown had been going on about it, then Ali Dowrall did get in touch, and then he done a thing saying that he would be coming. It was last minute, but he would be coming. And then he put out another video saying, well, he's not coming because he hasn't turned up to the meeting to sort out security, what he's going to say, you know, etc., etc., etc. He says, so now he's not going to be there. So he has been taken off of the list again. That is the video that went missing. The one where he actually said the night before that he was no longer permitted to go.
Well,
that is the one that went missing.
Apparently, all of that, right? When he made the original video saying, and at the bottom, I remember at the bottom of the video it said surprise, yeah. And he said Ali Dowrall will be coming, right?
Yeah.
This is what she says, Lauren Southern.
Yeah, but there was another video after that. But yeah, that did happen. Yeah.
Lauren Southern says he deleted that video and behaved like he'd never made it in the first place.
No,
and because he got so many complaints from different people that he'd invited that person, right, to come and speak. So he realized and uninvited him, if you like. But guess what?
That's true. Yeah, but he put out publicly that he was uninvited, and he said specifically because he was worried about security for Ali Dowrall, and Ali Dowrall hadn't come to the meeting for this about security. In other words, Tommy Robinson was worried at the amount of people that didn't want him there. He was free, because it was free speech. He was happy to have him there, but he wanted to know what Ali Dawah was going to do for his own safety, for security.
No, you see, according to Lauren Southern, it was right. We're going to blame Lucy for everything, and poor old Lucy got blamed for everything.
No, that's what the followers did. A lot of followers blamed her.
No, and Tommy Robinson did. He did. Oh, he did, because he sacked her 3 days later. But that's by the by, as far as I'm concerned, right? I just found Lauren Southern's video hysterical. Because
that's not true either. So he fell out. So Tommy Robinson, as far as I remember, fell out with Lucy Brown when he actually got put in prison because he'd already done filming. Yes, he'd already done filming with George and all that to do with Tracy Blackwell's boys. Okay. And that filming got lost when he was away in prison. They refused to hand it over because they said he hadn't paid money that was due to them. No. But he was in prison.
No. You know the Day of Freedom? Yeah. She was sacked 3 days after that. And she took with her that what you're just talking about and refused to hand it over.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why you had Tracy Blackwell screaming for Lucy Brown's blood.
Why was she still turning up at the park, and why was she encouraging Tam then?
She turned Cat Tam against Tommy Robinson. Can you not remember Tam wanted to attack Tommy Robinson?
Yeah, towards the end, yeah.
He was that infatuated with her. You know, apparently she had to get like job seekers allowance, but she doesn't mention that she managed to get 11 grand out of old Tam. Is it Tam? Yeah, Tam. Yeah.
That's disgusting. But even if Tommy did sack her 3 days later, right? I do blame her as well. Because she was the one that put the idea that Ali Dawah should go there because her friend dated Ali Dawah's friend. And we know that because there was a video outside the court where she was filming with him and she stayed back to talk to Ali Dawah. And she said, "Oh, it's been a pleasure to meet you. You know, my friend dates your friend, so-and-so." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, like that."
You don't have to convince me, but I've told you about Lucy Brown and Twitter and the direct messages to me from Lucy when, let me think, now when was it? It was when he was in jail the first time. And the things she was saying, not good. Not good at all. So you don't have to try and convince me about Lucy Brown.
And she likes to criticise Tommy Robinson for that silly. Remember when he made that inappropriate joke about rape when he said who'd rape her, whatever. Yeah. Lucy Brown was sitting there lapping it up, laughing with him.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, with a hat on.
Fucking innocent. I'm sorry, I'll see her in the fucking flesh at the park. And I'll tell you what, she had an attitude problem. She was walking around like she thought she was a fucking queen fucking bee. Strutting around, giving dirty looks all over the place, staring people out. No, fuck off out of it. See her in the flesh. I know what she was like. Her aroma and her persona. She weren't no fucking weakling. She might have been little, but she weren't no weakling.
Well, she had a lot to say about Tommy, I know that. But yes, that's generally, once she'd finished on that, I thought, and then she started going on about how, she'd put herself in danger. This is Lauren Southern I'm talking about. I thought, I'm really not interested in this. This is all because she's gone to the left, hasn't she, or something? I don't know.
She's married a lefty, isn't she? She's settled down and adopted kids or something. Because remember,
right. Okay. So why she done this video then? I mean, it's beyond me. I don't understand.
Because the left the far left, and it's not even the left, it's the far left, the extreme left, who pretend they're normal lefties, but actually they're Nazis. Yeah, that have got affiliations to the extreme right. They're the ones that try to pretend they're not racist, try to pretend they care about the country and everything else when they're the biggest fucking racists going. And yeah, but basically what they want to do is stop. Look, Tommy ain't perfect, okay? He might be a little bit prejudiced because of facts, not because of a bias, just because he's got an inherent bias and he just doesn't like people like that. It's because he's actually learned about a religion, he's looked at it, and he's come to the conclusion that it's not good for the overall conduciveness and cohesiveness of this country. Okay, people use that to say that he's biased and bigoted in one favour. Well, when you make a decision, Wendy, you do have to discriminate. You have to say, well, actually, that's bad. This is good, or this is good. That's bad. So he does discriminate a little bit when he looks at ideals, but I don't believe he's an actual racist. It's not down to colour for him. And they've spent so long trying to prove he was a racist to take the power off him. Yeah. Because they don't like his popularity. Because the extreme right and the extreme left, who are in bed together, the real fucking Nazis and racists, want the power. They want to be the fringe movement that actually puts the pressure on everybody else, a bit like the people in Ireland, from what I've seen from this documentary, a bit like that kind of mindset. And it's not going to work. In this country, it's not going to work.
Well, no. So, yeah, but that's basically what she was harping on about. I don't know what happened to Banksy. I don't know. I mean, did he come on and say what happened?
He's doing something completely different now, so.
Oh, right. Well, it's that time again, Dupes, and I'm going to shut this down now. I don't know what the next one's going to be about. But it'll be Thursday evening. I got to think.
Yeah.
So you think?
To be honest, Wendy, there's a lot of people that are just pissing me off at the moment. So, just to let you do it all, come on and just talk about that is enough for me. I'm seeing so much hypocrisy everywhere. And there's
I'll think of it. I'll think of something, and somewhere where you can just come and talk, where you don't have to be. Shut up, Ethan.
Oh God! But on Wednesday we've got Speaker's Corner online, though, isn't there? Where he's talking about the Nazification of the right.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
No, I'll think of another controversial topic. I like controversial topics.
Yeah, I just think. Do you know what I think that we should look into the abortion thing, Wendy?
Yeah.
No?
What do you mean? In which way, love?
Well, just to try and have a look at why they changed the rules and why they've changed it back, and in America, and how it affects, because that affects the Irish people as well, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, abortion is now legal in Ireland, where it never used to be. Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't have to do.
I'll think of something. I just think abortion is a bit of a. Because on Dr. John Campbell's stream, obviously he heard about what had happened in America, so he decided to do a stream that really, I thought, well, I'm glad I've got my 6-week limit, right? because he was showing the growth of a baby, of a fetus, and then by the time it's 8 weeks, right, everything is formed. Not ideally, but it's there. You can see it is and this is at 8 weeks, and I was sitting there thinking, thank God I got my 6 weeks cut-off point. Do you see what I mean, Jubes? Because for me, that's it. After 6 weeks, no. But anyway, I'll think of something. So yeah, but thanks for being here, love. Couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, you could.
No,
and I think you're doing really well. I think you're doing really well. I'm glad that you're doing it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, thank you. See you later, guys. See you later, audience. Take care.
All right, darling. Night.
Night.
Yeah, night, cheeky heathen. Yeah, you are a cheeky heathen. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Night, John, Elaine. Night, Dave, if you're hanging around listening. And Cam. Violet, good night, darling. Glad to see all of you here. Carl. JB. Yeah. Freedom for Britain's hanging around, I see. Yeah. Heathen, you cheeky little sod. I mean, you know, they sell out indeed. Right, so I'm off, and I shall see you 8 o'clock at the same time with a new topic. Well, bye-bye. Thank you.